All right, ladies and germs, y'all know the drill. Where you from? Where you at? What are you doing? It's a lot of stuff happening today, man. It's a lot of stuff happening today. Eson was good. Sophia was good. Chris was good. Poor Check was good. Leo was good. Jacob's in the building. Que lo que? Yo, man, where to begin today, man? Where to begin? So much stuff going on. Uh, I guess what I'll start off with is what happened between Mike Coppinger and Bob Arum. For those that are not already aware, uh, Mike Coppinger essentially got the shit chewed out of him for chiming in. He was not behaving like a member of the media, not really, because that's not how a member of the media should behave. I'm going to search it now for those of you that missed it. Play the audio for you guys. Okay, and here we go.
Fought for over a year. I mean, that's a criminal thing.
And wouldn't have once a purse paid if you would have paid him what he was looking for.
Shut the fuck up, you little prick.
Yeah?
Yeah, prick.
Go ahead.
Come on, get him out of here.
Okay, you're getting out of
Yeah,
here.
move him out of here, Darren. He's on top of the world, and he hasn't fought for over a year. I mean, that's a criminal thing.
And wouldn't have once a purse paid if you would have paid him what he was looking for.
Shut the fuck up, you little prick.
Yeah?
Yeah, prick.
Go ahead.
Come on, get him out of here. You little prick.
Yeah? Once a purse paid if you would have paid him what he was looking for.
Shut the fuck up, you little prick.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And wouldn't have once a purse paid if you would have paid him what he was looking for.
Shut the fuck up, you little prick.
All right, so and I want to talk about this. Karma was good. Johnny Blaze was good. Potato Bass was good. Kid was good. New Country was good. AJJJ was good. So let's get right down into it. A man Bob Arum's age, who's been in this industry approximately 50 years, promoted anyone from Muhammad Ali to Oscar De La Hoya to Floyd Mayweather to Manny Pacquiao to Tim Bradley to Vasyl Lomachenko to Teofimo Lopez, is not going to put up with lip from some bleeding heart reporter who doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. That's the first thing we need to get out the way. Open it up. Too much to talk about. I got you. Let me do my Ali Drew right quick and set it up. Let me do my Ali Drew, my Maya Jama, my David Diamante. A man that age, who's been in this industry for this long, survived many eras of boxers, is not going to have some smarmy reporter in his bleeding heart tell him how he should do business. In the end, Bob got it right. He taught his fighter a lesson with minimal effort. If you think the grass is greener on the other side, then go to the other side and see what you find when you get there. That's what happened with that. You were told, we're not going to pay you a certain amount of money because this is not a big fight. You didn't want to listen. That's okay. Find someone else that will pay you that. And for a second there, you thought you did. And you saw that 6 million. And like many people that don't like shout out to Drew, because me and Drew seen the shit. Me and Drew knew like, yo, this shit just ain't no way. $6 million for a fight like this. You guys are crazy. Drew says Bob has dealt with Mexican, Irish, Russian, African, and Asian gangsters. He not gonna let no reporter. That's what I'm saying. Bob is from that era of boxing, not this PC, PG, politically correct. Everybody's as fucking snowflake era of boxing. He not from this. He from the old school, and he knows his business. That's why he's been in it for so long. He knows that. Listen, if you don't want to. If you don't like the money that we got for you, go find somebody else that'll give you more money. He found somebody, right? And it looked good for a little while. Now, guys like me and Drew, we were telling you on Twitter, here on YouTube, other places, they're like, yo, dog, who pays $6 million for a fight like that? Like, What y'all gonna do? Bill it as a, and most people didn't even realize when that much money gets poured into the pot, well, how do you intend to get it back? A pay-per-view. And you think that Lopez versus Cambosos is pay-per-view worthy? I asked people when that news broke if they were gonna buy that fight. And I got a bunch of no's, resounding no's, from some of the same people that was so happy for Teofimo. They're so happy. There's no such thing as a free lunch. And if you've ever if you've ever done business or run a business just on any level, from the nickel and diamond level to the LLC level, you'll understand there's no such thing as a free lunch. You put $6 million in the pot. How do you intend to get it back? Pay-per-view was the answer. That's what I suspected, and that's what turned out to be. Yeah, they wanted to stage that shit as a pay-per-view. Deed says, shout out to Deed. I see why Top Rank has lasted this long. Indeed, bro. Indeed. So, and we've been all through that. We've been all through that because what I'm really addressing here is why Bob snapped at Mike Coppinger. Guys like Mike Coppinger are the reason that fighters get out of pocket. You're a sycophant. You're a bleeding heart. You're a bootlicker. You telling him that he should have overpaid for a fight that ended up fizzling out anyway, and you still don't get it because you're fucking slow. Oh, he should just give him whatever he asked for. Really, are you in the business of just giving money away? Because last I checked, nobody's in the business of just giving money away. And I know that that's going to sound cold, but that's reality. Nobody's in the business of giving money away. You telling me that I should have overpaid for a fight to satisfy his ego? Nah, he needed that lesson. He needed that lesson. And he's lucky. He's damn lucky that he had Matchroom to fall back on. Because if it weren't Matchroom that placed the second highest bid, you know what would have happened? The fight goes right back to Top Rank, and you would have lost a year for no fucking reason. You know what I mean? It's a lesson in there. It's a lesson in there. It's a lesson in everything. And when you get old enough, you start to realize that there's a lesson in everything. That was a lesson for him. Do you know what the worst thing would have happened? If the worst thing that could have happened is that Triller does the pay-per-view. You want to know why? Because it would have lost money, and that would have hurt Teofimo's reputation and his marquee value. It's hard to beat a man. When you on pay-per-view, the truth gonna come out as far as what you worth and what you ain't worth, because we're not talking about spiritual currency. We're talking about dollars and cents. You ain't talking about me giving you a spiritual $5 or a spiritual $10,000. You talking about legit money, right? Hey, you think you worth a certain amount. If they would have put you out there and that shit would have flopped, it would have been on you. It would have been on you. And all your contemporaries would have looked at you and said, bro, get the fuck out of here with that A-side shit, bro. We just seen your pay-per-view numbers. What are you talking about? They would have rinsed them, hung them out to dry. Guys like Mike are the reason that everybody thinks they're a superstar. Guys like Mike who lie about pay-per-view buys, and he already got caught in a lie when it comes to the Gervonta Davis numbers, because you said Leo Santa Cruz did 225. Then you turn around and say that the Barrios pay-per-view did more than the Santa Cruz pay-per-view, but the Barrios pay-per-view did 215. You said that one did 225. So which one is it? Guys like Mike are bootlickers, sycophants. That's what they are. And a guy Bob's age is not going to sit there and explain all this shit. They're like, yo, dog, you know what you want me to do? You want me to pour money down the drain. Like Triller just poured money down the drain. You see how Triller just lost $1.2 million for a fucking fight they didn't even get to put on? That money's gone, bro. It's gone. That's it. And you think that I'm in the business of giving money away? Do you think that I've been in this business for 50 years because I'm in the business of just giving money away, giving people whatever the fuck they ask for? Is that how you do business? He talked to that dude how you supposed to talk to that dude. Yo, shut the fuck up, bro. You don't even know what you're talking about. And you a reporter. How is a reporter trying to chastise? Like seriously, you're going to try to chastise the guy? It wasn't Keith Idek. It was Mike Coppinger. What do you think about Tank versus Rolly? I think that's a fight that would do good numbers on Showtime. I don't think it belongs on pay-per-view, but naturally. T.O. got approximately, I believe, 1.2, maybe 1.5. He didn't get a lot. To be completely honest with you, he didn't get a lot. And he wasn't going to get that much for the Kambosos fight. But you know why he's not going to get a lot? Or why he didn't? Because you're not worth that much at that point. Nobody wants to hear this shit, but you know, it is the truth. Your market value is a certain number. If you get put out there, how many tickets do you sell? How many pay-per-view buys can you generate? There's an actual number. You know, there is an actual number. And at that time, in the absence of a live gate, a live audience, there's only so much money out there for everybody. That's just the reality of it. The Lomachenko versus Lopez fight happened in the thick of the pandemic last year. There was no live gate revenue. There's no audiences. So that's an arm of revenue that you don't have. And you work with what you got. You either want the fight or you don't. And I reiterate, I understood Lopez wanting a little bit more money, but you have to work with your people. You got to work with your people. And sometimes, even though it's difficult, you got to swallow your pride and listen. Use your common sense. You think this is a big fight? You think Lopez versus Kambosos is a big fight because you asking for top dollar for what ain't a top shelf fight? Got to use your common sense. And we've already been through all of that. We've had that conversation. The conversation we're having now is about a reporter who thinks he can chastise a boxing promoter who's been in this industry for 50 fucking years. And there's no, you know, it's like me, Drew, and Alexis are the only guys that have to constantly remind people. We have to constantly remind people, yo, dog, Al is a newbie. Al Heyman is a newbie. He's a newbie to that business. Bob is the gold standard. Why the fuck do you guys think he's been around so long? They put Tank and Rolly in LA on a Sunday when all two of three Mexican football teams play that day, and the other is on a Sunday night football. And don't forget, Rolly is Rolly Mexican? Because I don't think he is. Is he Mexican, Rolly? I know he Hispanic, but is he Mexican? Like, he got Mexican fans? That's why he's the Bob father. He ain't taking no mess from some media dude. Bob knew that was pedestrian. That was a pedestrian. Yeah, bro. Do you think that Bob has been in this industry this long to be taking shit from some bleeding heart reporter? He Cuban, so he don't even got his pulse on that. He don't even got his hands on the pulse of the Mexican fans. But they want to try to sell that shit as a pay-per-view. And they're going to be celebrating mediocre numbers because they've settled into, me, Drew, Alexis, we've talked about this on many occasions, Leo, that they've settled into their own mediocrity. They've settled into that. They're okay with their 220 or their 215. They're happy with that shit, bro. They're happy with that mediocrity. Raiders are at home and Rams are at home. 1 out of 3 of the Raiders season ticket holders are from LA. Yo, dog? It had to be Leonard. Leonard it's an in-house affair, right, bro? That's all TMT. That's all Mayweather Promotions. So the fucking genius behind that move has to be Leonard. It gotta be him. The one with all the bright fucking ideas. Barron went to Rolly South American and Cuban. Yeah, he don't got no Mexican fans, bro. He don't got, not that it matters because all the Mexican fans is going to be watching football that day. And Rolly trash. I'm sorry, but I mean, like, he should get better before he even has a fight like that, but he should get better. He should get better before he has a fight like that. Back to the Mike Coppinger shit. You got a guy literally trying to chastise. He trying to tell Bob, yo, you should have gave him what the fuck do you mean I should have gave him what he wanted? Like, bro, like, I'm going to take business advice from you. Excuse me, I'm going to take orders from you because you telling me I should. New Country, shout out to New Country. T.O. out of control will get a rude awakening with that ego. Triller got what they deserve. You hear about them swapping out the ref and one judge for Fury versus Wilder, man. Shenanigans are on all over. You absolutely right. It's a fucking circus this week, Country. It's a fucking circus. But I love it. I love it. I love all of it. I love Bob. I love that someone finally put Mike in his place. because he still acts like he's a PBC shill. To me, he's a spy. If I wanted to be real, the way he moved, I would say, yo, you probably be feeding top rank intel to people at PBC. Probably be doing that. This the information era. Information is currency, right? But I just like that he put him in his place, because it's like, yo, dog, you are one of many sycophants in today's boxing cosmos that feed this idea that, oh, you're entitled. You're just supposed to get whatever you ask for. That's not how this works. The way it works, they're giving you decent money for starters. And if you got good people around you, good team, good family, good people, you could take what you're earning and flip houses, start a business, etc., etc. Now, you want top dollar and you're not top shelf yet. That's just reality. You had a monumental win. I think it's a great win. I think most of us agree it was the best win the lightweight division has seen in years, right? But at the end of the day, you're talking money. That's marquee value. That's market value. That's actual bread. What do you expect this man to pay you for a Kambosos fight? What do you expect? Bob straight check, Mike. You damn right. That's how you supposed to do that shit. That's how you supposed to do that. What he supposed to sit there and get into an elaborate explanation, bring out a PowerPoint presentation to explain to Mike, why fiscally that doesn't make sense? No, that's not gonna happen. He did what an old head is gonna do. Like, man, he did what an old head gonna do. T.O. talking about God now, except the scripture says condemn greed and ego. Thank you. Pride comes just before the fall, my biblical friends. Pride comes just before the fall. If we're going to get biblical. Didn't I say he was going to start talking about God and he's going to start posting affirmations via his social media? Pride comes just before the fall. Shout out to Jacob Sims, who said, T.O. already mad at the zone calling him unified. Well, he ain't undisputed, I'm sorry to say. I'm not one of those channels. I don't run interference for nobody. You know what I mean? I don't run interference for Team T.O. the same way I don't run interference for nobody. He's not undisputed. If people have been arguing over whether or not you're undisputed from the day you won them belts, you want to know why? It's because you're not undisputed. Because people want to start qualifying franchise belts because they want to be the unofficial mascots for a boxer. It's your prerogative. But I know that franchise is not undisputed. I know that. I know that's some shit that they made not but 2 years ago for Canelo. And even Canelo, he don't care. You don't see Canelo qualifying franchise, right? And you know they made the shit for him. They made that shit for him. And he went after the real belt. Why? Because he knows you need the real belt to be undisputed. You need the real belt, the world title, not the French fry. I'm just saying, Drew, I ain't trying to start no shit up in here. But I'm not. We know that there's channels that they're very loyal to fighters. And look, that's their prerogative. What they do is their business. All I'm saying is I'm a boxing fan, bro. I'm a fan of the sport, not a fan of a guy. I'm a fan of the sport. All right. You need the world titles to be undisputed, not the French fry. And the situation didn't suddenly fucking change because a fighter that you like has a franchise belt. I've always maintained it's not Teofimo's fault. It's not his fault. None of this is his fault. But that's the situation that Bob created. Why? Because he didn't want Eddie using Devin as a mandatory to push a purse bid to get Loma on the zone. I've been saying this on repeat for at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years now. That's what that was all about. All right. That's why he decided to shoot for franchise. So that once my guy is franchise, you cannot impose mandatories upon him. That's what that was all about. And I'm not going to suddenly start fucking qualifying the shit just because so-and-so has it. The Zone did not list WBC franchise on promo art. Well, you know what the $1 million question is, Drew? If by some chance George Kambosos were to upset Teofimo, right? Would he become a franchise champion? We have to ask, because with the WBC, you never fucking know. You never know. I mean, I think it's great too, Jump too, but I think it's great. You guys know that that's what I wanted all along. I wanted the Zone to get the fight because, believe it or not, I feel for Teofimo and I feel for George. I'm not unsympathetic. I'm a blue collar guy. I want them to make their money. I do. I want them to make good money. All right. And for them to have sat out for a year without the opportunity to fight because Triller couldn't get it together, it's partially their fault. A good portion of it is their fault. But I'm not heartless. I don't want those guys to be broke. I want them to make good money. But there's certain realities that need to be addressed. Bro, you're not a big draw yet. Even with beating Loma, you're not a big draw yet. That's just the truth. That's not me hating on you. That's just the truth. If you was a big draw, that shit would have sold out when y'all was trying to do it in Miami. If you was a draw. That Abner Ortega, hey man, hey. Hey, JJ, appreciate that, bro. And I'm not trying to knock nobody hustle, but it's hustles that work and it's hustles that don't. And like I said it, Drew said it, Alexis said it, that yo, this shit is wild. You jumped into bed with them people so you could lose a year. And now you ain't even gonna make the it ain't a $6 million pot no more. It's not a $6 million pot. You know what I mean? Now it's a $4 million pot, which ain't that bad. That's all right. $4 million pot, but it costed you. And while it was costing you all that time, you made waves that may reverberate. Because I'm gonna say this: when Lomachenko had them belts, you didn't see this bullshit. Talk to him, Drew. Talk to him. When Loma had them belts, was it this fucking difficult to make a goddamn fight? When he had them belts? When he had all three of them shits, when he was doing his thing and trying to unify, did you see these kinds of situations? No, you didn't. That shit, that tells the people at top rank, they're like, yo, this kid is causing wild problems. He causing problems. He's been causing problems since he got them belts. Yo, we might have to take them shits from him. We might have to do that. We might have to humble him for a second. We might have to do that. If this situation did, I mean, like, yo, I'm not saying that I heard somebody say that, but that's how my mind work if it's me. Like, yo, you wildin', fam. You wildin'. You know, we had all these belts. We didn't have these problems. Josh Taylor found himself in the same situation that you find yourself in, that he got all the belts, right? He got all the belts. And they made the Catterall fight. No fuss, no muss. It's done. No entitlement, no crying, no bitching, no moaning, no me. No, none of that. They got Catterall fight is done. That's it. No problems. You get a mandatory, same way he got a mandatory. And look at this shit. It's a fucking circus. It's a fucking circus. Hey, man, throwing shots at me? At me? Oh, God, I don't want to do that. I hope they're not throwing shots at me, man. This is just boxing talk. Does Teofimo have a state that he could fight in hometown crowd? Not really, Andrew, because, he rep Brooklyn, but he really a Florida cat. And he don't have the Mexican contingent to rely upon. He don't have them. He don't. Ask Drew. The Mexicans is like, it ain't that he's not a good fighter. I think he's a great fighter. But fanfare, no, he doesn't have it yet. And sitting out for a year because of this fucking fight, that really ain't helping the situation. Now, if he would have been able to get out there in like February or March, knock this fucking guy out, right? Get you a highlight reel knockout. Keep your name buzzing. Keep doing your thing, right? Because remember, Oscar De La Hoya in 1997 was a bigger draw then than Teofimo is today. And in 1997, Oscar De La Hoya fought 5 times. He was an A-side marquee golden boy ass fighter. All right? Talk about A-sides and being the golden boy, the golden child. He was that. And he fought 5 times in 1997. This cat, you beat Loma in October last year. You miss a year? How is that helping your situation? You ain't got the Puerto Ricans. You ain't got the Mexicans. It ain't that many Dominicans in this country, to be honest, and it ain't that many Cubans. Not that it matters, because you don't have them. They'll fuck with you, but you got to get out there for them to fuck with you. You got to keep doing your thing, keep grinding, keep having fights, keep winning. You don't just turn around all of a sudden and ask for the moon and the stars. It really doesn't work like that. Whitaker, Cordy, Trinidad call. Talk about it, sliding counter. And I'm not even an Oscar De La Hoya fan. Like, I'm not. But, bro, these is real facts. That dude was an A-side marquee motherfucker. And he had a work ethic. We could say what he want about what he does outside of the ring. But as far as boxing, Oscar was about that life. He was about that life. What marquee fighter besides Canelo you see here today fighting 3 and 4 fucking times a year? Who besides Canelo? Who was groomed by Oscar and Golden Boy? And these young guys now, they think everything is a given. Like, oh, you got a solid win, so gimme. Nah, bro. And what probably pissed Bob off when it come to Mike is you do realize that you're talking about my money. I know you. I know Mike, based on what you make as a reporter, you're not just giving money away, are you? What, you in the business of giving money away because that's what you telling me to do? You telling me to just give money away on fights that ain't gonna make me no money. Tio turned off a lot of Latino fight fans. We love an arrogant machismo fighter who does all those antics after handling biz in the ring. And when's the last time he handled biz in the ring? Not knocking him, man, but I know, look, people don't like to hear it, but it's causality. All it is a case of causality, cause and effect, all right? You got ahead of yourself, your head got big, you started asking for a lot of shit, like, bro, chill, let's do this little fight, let's get it out of the way, and let's get it over the line, and we could talk about some bigger fights. We could talk about some bigger purses. But let's get this out the way first. Nah, you got stuck on this. You want to be stuck on, all right? And see if that helps your situation. And while you're doing that, you're pissing people off. You may be burning bridges that make people look at you and say, you know, when Loma had them belts, we didn't have these problems. You remember when he had them belts? It wasn't that long ago. We didn't have these problems making a fight. Lomachenko just signs on to fight Nakatani. No fuss, no muss. Signs on to fight Richard Comey. No fuss, no muss. No problems. Jack Catterall has a mandatory the same way you have a mandatory. No fuss, no muss. No problems. No demands. No entitlement. It's why Canelo can flex his machismo now and shit talking. He on a serious run so he could be full of himself. Yo, I said that, yo, dog. This is what I be like. Look, you don't fight Trout and Lara and Cotto and Smith and Golovkin 2 times and Jacobs and fucking Kovalev and then another Smith and then Saunders. You don't do all this throughout 3 weight classes, right? Because that's 3, but he's a 4-division champion. You don't do all this to have people coming up to you talking about gimme. Like, the fuck you mean gimme? You know what? If you was half the fighter you think you are, you would have did half the shit that I just did. But near as I could tell, all you got is a red belt. And the only reason we here is because I want it. Not because you want it. You didn't want it. Because Benavidez and Saunders and Smith, all these guys was here for you. What did you do to get them? Even if things didn't work out with Benavidez, even if they didn't want to make that fight yet, which is the truth. Sampson didn't want to make it yet. He wanted it to be a pay-per-view. What did you do to get Smith? What did you do to get Saunders? These guys that Canelo came in later on and beat, before he did that, what did you do to get him? Because you had a belt before Canelo did at this weight. And that's facts. The only belt Canelo had before he beat Smith at that weight was the Reggie belt. Caleb was already IBF champion. What did you do to get Billy, to get Callum in the ring? Oh, you didn't do nothing? Oh, so you gonna let Canelo do it? And then when he do it and he beat them, you gonna try to tell him what to do? Ha ha! Teo Schemo tried a PBC move. Yo, talk about it, Lemon Pepper. Talk about it, Lemon Pepper. Ain't that what it was? Did he start moving like a PBC fighter? Teo showing American fighter habits. He think his 16 fights are... Talk about it. Yo, look. Usyk's 16 fights is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean, like he has under 20 fights, and it's ridiculous. He unified a whole division, took on every single world champion that was there, beat them in their home, took their belts, then defended the belt, all those belts on the road, moved up in weight, fought on foreign soil, took on a marquee fighter in his backyard, and beat him in under 20 fights. You won't see a run like that. I don't know if you look. He could lose the rematch. I'm telling you, he's in already. He's in already. Cruiserweight undisputed champion, unified heavyweight champion, all on the road. He's in already. But you got American fighters. Oh, nah, you gotta for a fucking mandatory, bro. You wildin'. Remember, Usyk was the B-side to Derek Chisora. He was the B-side. He took his lumps. Guys don't want to pay their dues. Ask around. Ask a Brit. Ask somebody in the UK. Who was the A-side and the B-side in Usyk versus Chisora? Ask them. George, shout out to George, the Soul Survivor Reborn. We're in a strange generation where we are told to listen only to young and not the old. There's a saying, break too many rules, then you'll find out why there are rules. Yo, that's like what Tyson Fury said to Wilder earlier today. He who grabs a hot coal to hurt someone will hurt themselves before he hurt them, because you're going to burn yourself. Jaime Nieto says Canelo fights 3-4 times a year and still gets shit on. Yet Charlo sit in silence and act like Canelo owes him a shot. This is what I'm talking. Thank you. This is what I'm talking about. Bro, even if you can't get Golovkin, fine. A lot of people can't get him. Even if maybe you want Jaime, but you can't get him, fine. There is a guy you can get, and you want to play these fucking games and think that we supposed to feel sorry for you. They offered you $7 million to fight Andre. I don't want to hear that Ronnie Shields shit. I don't want to hear that. American fighters wasn't doing what Usyk was. Yo, talk about it. Talk about it. You understand? Look, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury this past Saturday, right? Once Saturday gets here and it's over and it's done, right? Beyond that, they will have fought 3 times, and never once did Wilder want to go to the UK. Fury has the belt. Fury has the belt. But what's the foreign fighter doing? Fighting in America. Fighting in America. Charlo should have gave Montiel. Yo, talk about it though. Fury won the belt in the last fight. Where's the third fight? In America. Because American fighters don't want to travel. They don't want to travel. And a lot of the things that we look for to respect, like, yeah, sometimes it's easier to like the foreign fighter because the foreign fighter, you see the sacrifices. It's in plain sight. Like, yeah, all these fighters sacrifice a lot. Don't get it twisted. It's a deadly sport. It's a hard sport. They all sacrifice a lot. But the foreign fighters, right, the guys that got to come from over there somewhere, coming over here for opportunity, you feel for these cats because you know it's easy to fuck them. It's easy. They could get fucked over on the cards. They get fucked over on the cards. They move away from their families. They don't have it their way. They don't be in their neck of the woods having home field advantage. So you see an American fighter here, right? And you already in the place to be. You got the advantages. You speak the languages, and it's not enough. Rosado Munguia, where you leaning? Munguia, bro. Munguia has a chin. Honestly, I don't know about Beck's chin. Because remember when Beck fucking fought him, he was like what 5-0. There were a lot of acid tests that he didn't have. The chin test was one of them. But Munguia's had a chin test. He's taking hard shots. I've seen it. Takashi nailed him. Dennis Hogan nailed him. Motherfucking Toriano Johnson was nailing him. And he took that shit. My opinion, it's gonna be a war. But I go Munguia. Because not only is he aggressive, offensive, he's big, and he could take a shot. They just have to keep refining him as a pressure fighter. Shorten up those punches. Keep that head off the line. Move like a metronome, side to side, so you don't get hit with bullshit coming in. Roll with the punches, you know what I mean? He's a good pressure fighter. I know a lot of people think he's crude, and he is, but you got to let him be what he is and sharpen what he's good at. What is he good at? Mid-range to inside, pressure fighting. Straight shots on the way in and hooks on the inside. He's good at that. He's a good pressure fighter. So sharpen that up. I think Eric Morales has the right idea. I do. You got Benavidez out here telling Charlo he'll come to 160. Charlo said David's name first, and when David called us, talk about it, Jaime, because most people don't want to acknowledge that David wasn't even the one that started that shit. It was Jermall Charlo. Last year, there was a story that, something about what was the story? Somebody said they wanted to fight David Benavidez. I think it was Anthony Durrell again or some shit like it was some shit like that. And Jermall was the one that chimed in. Jermall was the one that said, if you don't get him, I will. I'll move up and fuck him up. And when David heard that, all right, let's get it. Move up. Come beat the shit out of me. That's how all of that got started, so that people could cry Jermall a river when, like, yo, you asked for it, bro. You said that's what you wanted. So it could be about COVID and he don't got no. Yo, bro, you the one that started all that shit, bro. You said that man's name. That dude was chilling. And the other shit is, David is not a bad dude like that. He be running around saying bad shit about people. He really don't. That can't be chilling most of the time. He went in on Charlo. Well, you started it, Charlo. You started talking about me. And we stablemates. We fight on the same platforms. Ain't no motherfucking real reason. Ain't no real reason that we shouldn't fight. Shouldn't be no problems, no politics, no platform issues. No, we fight on the same platforms. No, it's Jermell Charlo. Hey, I fuck with Jermell more than I fuck with Jermall. Everybody know that. But just back to the Mike Coppinger, the Bob Arum. Here you have a senior citizen who still goes to every fight, who still balls deep in the business of boxing. He hasn't faded away. A lot of people have faded away. He hasn't. He's still here. He still goes to every fight. He still takes every flight. So that some reporter could tell him, oh, you should have did this. Oh, you should. Oh, I'm sorry. You're going to teach Bob about boxing? Because you using 4-letter words and you don't realize it. Should. Bob should? He should. Oh, so you're going to tell him what he should do with his own money. Would you like me to tell you what you should do with your money? Would you like that? No, you wouldn't, right? You wouldn't want somebody telling you how to spend your money. You wouldn't want somebody telling you how you should do business, but that's what you're doing with him, and he has 50 years of experience. Promoted Ali, promoted Oscar, promoted Hagler. Yeah, he did promote Hagler. Yeah, he did promote Hagler. Right? Promoted Oscar, promoted Floyd, promoted fucking Manny Pacquiao that just retired. You understand that Manny Pacquiao just retired from boxing, but fucking Bob is still here. God bless him with me and you in this boxing shit. And you gonna tell Bob, yeah, you should have, you deserve it. He deserved it, bro. Fucking deserved it. You know what I mean? Now, beyond that, the Wilder versus Fury, what's that? We got 194 in the building, and I want 194 likes. We got I don't even be paying attention to the numbers sometimes. We got 194 in the building. I want 194 likes. Kate Abdo shattered. Kate Abdo shattered. And I don't blame Bob for his reaction because she's there to perform a service. She's not there because she's not there to be cute. She's there to present. And as a presenter, the aforementioned parties agreed there would not be a face-off. That's what they agreed upon. Top Rank, Tom Brown of TGB, they agreed there would not be a face-off. You didn't get the memo? Because you are being paid, you didn't get the memo, there's not going to be a face-off? Super Bob went from real guys like Burt Sugar and Howard Cosell to these clowns. Yo, talk about it, bro. Real gangster shit from an era of real gangsters and wise guys. When boxing was another arm of organized crime in many ways, it still is. But that's another story. You know what I mean? So that Mike Coppinger could tell him how he need to do business. Right? Oh, I should overpay him because you told me to, because you know more about my finances and the market value of a fight than I do. Right? Did you think it was a good idea that Triller wanted to put that on pay-per-view, Mr. Business Savvy Business Guy, Reporter Guy? Did you think that boxing fans want to pay $50, $60 for that fight while you're celebrating that he's going to get all this money, right? Did you think that boxing fans, because it all boils down to common sense. It really all boils down to me and you, the consumers. Do we want to pay $50, $60 for that fight? No. And the kind of money you want, like if you let these guys tell it, everything belongs on pay-per-view. Why? Because it would have to go to pay-per-view to satisfy your purse demands. Oh, man. I got to wait. Yo, look, give me a second, Johnny. Appreciate the super chat. I got a weekend recap coming up on Friday. Tune in. I'll tell you what I think. Right now, look, the thing about that fight is Robert Helenius has certain physical advantages, and that doesn't, because those advantages are there, right? He's the taller fighter, he's the longer fighter, he can punch, right? What got Adam caught is not just going to change. I honestly don't know what he can do differently because Adam's bread and butter has always been he's a fat guy that can throw a lot of punches. He's a volume puncher. He's got the gas tank for whatever reason, right? To throw a lot of punches. But when you a volume guy, you throwing all them shots, you open to be caught. You're standing in front of this guy, you're gonna get caught. I don't know right now, and I'm really gonna have to think on it because it's gonna boil down to intangibles. I don't know what he can do differently to not get caught again. I honestly don't know. Honey will be at TO fight with the Haney will be at T. Ain't that a motherfucker? Ain't that a motherfucker? Right? Helene has caught him because Adam's base style is going in there and throwing a lot of shots. If you do that, there's a chance, you're going to get caught between the punches. And this is the heavyweight division, so you're always one punch away from being knocked out. I don't know what he's going to do differently. Honestly, don't. What? He's going to jab? Remember, Robert's the taller guy, the longer guy, right? So Adam can't box him from the outside. Like, I know we just saw Usyk and Joshua, and Usyk is the smaller guy, but he was able to out jab the taller. I get it. Usyk is a freak, right? Adam Kovnatski is not Usyk. If you sit on the outside trying to jab it, you're a sitting duck. You have to bring the fight to him because he's taller, but you did that and you got knocked out. So I don't know what he's going to do differently. I honestly don't know. Bro, look, Johnny, he was the betting favorite in the first fight. He was the betting favorite in the first fight. Every logical thing, right, that there is. Johan Duhaupas, he stopped Robert Helenius. Right? I mean, Dillian White outpointed Robert Helenius. You didn't think in that first fight this is going to be the guy that gives Adam his first loss. You didn't think that in the first, but that's what happened. And why? If you go back and watch that fight, in between the shots, Adam got caught. And because Adam is little, he has not little, but little compared to Robert. He has to go to Robert, bring the fight to Robert. And if he does that, what are you going to do? You're going to do what you did before? Just go for the knockout? Just go hell for level for the knockout? I mean, that's why I'm on the fence, because it's like, look, it's the heavyweight division. If Adam can get through with something hard, maybe he can knock Robert out. But that was the same dynamic before. That is what he was going for, and he got knocked out. He got trounced. Very difficult fight to call, that one. Very difficult fight to call. Because what is he going to do differently? Kobnowski should try to fight like Chisora, similar size, similar pressure style. Yeah, try to get under the shots. Stay off the line, weave the hooks, slip the jab, move. Move. And Adam, he's not like, Chisora's, heavy guy, stumpy guy. But even Chisora is more athletic than Adam. Chisora is more athletic than Adam. He is. That you see how he barrels forward, bobs and weaves. Adam don't do all that. Helenius hits hard, but can be knocked out. That's true. But who's your money with then, Medellin? Because it's like I'm not telling you who you should pick. I'm telling you why I am like this. They're like, what is he going to do differently in this fight? What is he going to do differently? That's why I'm like this. 50-50 fight, low. Yeah, man. That's a 50. To me, it is, because I'm like, I just don't know what he's going to do differently. I don't know. Maybe he goes in there, he just says, fuck it from the first round. I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to go for the fucking knockout. And maybe he gets through, because it is the heavyweight division. You're always one punch away from being knocked out. And, maybe he shoots his shot and he gets it. So we move on from that. We get to the Wilder press conference. I want to play the audio for you guys so we can set the stage. We've had a lot of fun talking about Bob. And this is all before I open the chat up to the panel. Let's go to Boxing Social. They posted the clip that I'm looking for. Let's go to Boxing Social, because they're social and they like boxing.
What was the point in changing everything and doing all this other work? Can anybody answer that question? I know he can't, doesn't have the brains to. So, no one can answer that question, can they? So, the fact that I've egg in your face, bitch.
Ow!
That's what we say. And here's another one. He says he wants to do bad things to me and hurt me and do all this malice feelings, and he's got anger and aggression. Well, for those who hold a hot coal with the intentions of throwing it at somebody, guess what? They're the ones who's going to get burnt. I don't want to hurt Deontay Wilder. I just want to beat him in a fight. And he knows what he's saying is lies. And deep down in his soul, he knows that he lost. And he'll lose again. And he lost the first time, he lost the second time, and he's going to lose the third time. And guess what? After this fight, he'll be back working in that fast food chain that he was working at earlier on in his career. Because that's the only place he's going to be welcome. Retirement for him. Retirement dosser. Retirement dosser.
The answer to your question is why you changed for the first and second.
No, that ain't the answer to the question. That's another question. So that's not an answer. If I only won because I cheated, why do all this extra training? Because obviously you can beat me with the old training you was doing, as long as I didn't cheat.
To answer your question, J-Rod, look, If it were Tank versus Rolly on regular Showtime, I'd actually say, okay, I'll tune in if it were on regular Showtime. But as an $80 pay-per-view, that is not worth my money. There are far better fights out there for Gervonta Davis to be in, and that is not one of them. Because Rolly Romero is not impressive, and that is not a fight that I was asking for. I don't know who was asking for that fight, but I know it wasn't me. And that fight is not worth my money. So that is what I think about that fight. I will not be buying it. Back to Wilder and Fury.
You got to ask yourself the question. If I've done all this cheating,
nervous energy.
Yeah, then why has he not prepared himself? He hasn't done any extra steps at all to stop me from cheating again.
Why you explain yourself?
I'm not explaining myself. I'm asking you the question.
You haven't denied any
what have you done
to this point?
I don't need to deny it because it's true.
You haven't denied any
I knuckle dusters on and a turbo jets on me.
You don't even want certain media in here to give you the tough questions. You have nobody to give you the tough questions.
And there's nobody in here that can ask me a tough question.
So when it's like
you're in denial and you're getting knocked out.
Let's make it happen.
And you're gonna retire. You don't know yet about.
You want my honest opinion, Jaime? Check it. I feel like Deontay was trying to keep his cool, and at the end of the press conference, Tyson got in his head. I agree with you. I think he was trying to keep his cool and minimize the back and forth. He didn't want to do that. When I heard him talk, honestly felt bad for him. And I'm going to say this. Look, I'm going to say this, right? This is going to sound weird. Wilder's not a bad guy. He's not a bad guy. He sounds broken. And I feel, if he is, I feel for him. Because then he shouldn't be in this fight. It kind of goes back to what Mark said of Unrivaled Boxing Talk. Shout out to Mark. Great channel. For those that are not subscribed, subscribe to it. It sounds like what Mark said. Mark said, hold up. My kids want to be out here for some reason. And I'm about to spank the both of them. Why are y'all out here? Hey. Get out the camera, man. Anyway, he sounds broken. Honestly, when I heard him talk and try to talk and all of that, he sound broken. He don't sound how he sounded in the second press conference or the first one. He don't. So I kind of felt bad for him when I heard his voice crack when he tried to speak up and talk for the first time. When he tried to talk, his voice cracked. And I felt for him because it's like if he, I don't know if he's broken. He sounds broken to me. So to me, I feel empathy for him. Like, yo, dog, if you don't really feel right up here and up here to be having this fight, then you should not be having this fight. At the presser, Wilder looked around for Breland to throw the towel and was confused when Fury asked those logical questions about cheating. I felt bad for him, man. Honest to God, I did. Let's play some more.
And you're getting knocked out. And you're going to retire.
You don't know nothing about knocking
Do yourself
no one
a favor
out. You don't have
and
knockout
retire.
power.
Your legacy's in bits.
Even in my
all
worst,
the excuses,
even in my worst
even all the
time,
excuses, you've been destroyed.
like a bitch. I didn't
no
feel
one's
nothing.
even believed you.
I didn't feel
They're all
anything.
laughing
You
at
were
you like
wondering
a
why I
little
kept
weak
getting
piece of
up
shit
and
when
getting
you
up.
really are.
Because I didn't feel nothing. You have no power.
Million
You're not a knockout
excuses.
artist.
Well, I knocked you out, didn't I, Dosser?
Nah, I could have been out on my feet.
That's a
I
knockout.
had a disloyal
You got
trainer
knocked
to throw
out,
the towel
Dosser.
in. And guess what? When someone throw the towel in after the boss tell them not to do, the employee get fired.
Yeah, but you said I had knuckle dusters on. JD is in the room while I had the fucking gloves on. Why didn't he say something then? He's in on it too.
Don't worry about him.
He's in on it.
Don't worry about him. I have my team like I handle my team.
He's in
You
on it
handle
too.
yours like you handle yours.
You're a weak man. You get knocked out.
Thank you.
End of.
Thank you. I'm the only one that defended my title 10 times.
I don't need to defend titles.
How many times have you
defended? Doctors like you. Doctors like you defend them. I don't need to.
I've never had to cheat in years.
I've come here
If you look up your history and you look up my history, which I advise everyone to do their
me
homework.
on a training day.
You look up you and you look up me. I'm a nun in this sport, baby.
You ain't nothing. You will only ever be remembered.
I don't have to stick shit up my ass to make me feel a certain type of way.
That's your legacy.
I don't have to use certain things. I don't have to manipulate my gloves. I don't have to do those things.
You have to do it all. You have to do it all.
So at night when I
you
look into
are
the
a
mirror,
loser, and you're being trained by a loser. So that makes two losers. And you're going to get knocked out on Saturday night. No problem. I don't feel you because you're a lying little dosser. Insecure piece of shit.
That's the difference between me and you. I don't have to fire another day of my life.
Doesn't matter because your legacy's already finished. All the excuses.
How can you say the same thing?
You've been done. Finished.
Can you say the same thing?
You've been beat. You've been humiliated, and you've been busted. End of. And that's it. And there's no one in here can accept the fact that this little pussy got his ass handed to him, not once, but twice, and he can't do nothing about it because he ain't fucking man enough. That's why.
I accept. Look.
Tell him what to say, Shirley. Come on. Tell him what to say.
When I was in the condition I was in, I could have stopped the fight. I could have went back to my corner, but you know what? I'm a king. I'm a warrior.
You didn't look like a king when you was getting fucked up in that corner.
I accepted what I was going through to still fight you.
Yeah, you look like a dosser. You didn't look like a king.
And you still couldn't knock me out. You
look like a dosser.
But guess what?
You look like a dosser. I look like the king.
And you was in the situation
I was in that corner getting your head punched. Your trainer, JD.
Someone please call
He done everything for Mark Breland. He saved your life that night.
Don't know.
You just want to sack him. Wanted to give him a pay rise.
Give me one second. Give me one second.
Like, if you want to become a legend, you have to take.
If I only won because I cheated.
All right, so y'all heard the pleasantries. Hey, we're not gonna fill a panel with like 20 people. It's mad people backstage.
Hey, Wakanda forever.
Y'all can hear me?
Heavy duty.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hold on. All right, let me go to the. Give me a second. This thing be slowing down whenever I try to add people now. I might have to get me a new laptop this year. All right, give me a second, Eson. I'm going to add you next. Man, it's like 30 fucking people. Well, it ain't 30, but it's like 10 fucking people back here. All right, so I'm going to start off with y'all. I'm going to start off with you, Drew. You saw the press conference. How it looked, man? How it looked?
It didn't increase my interest for the fight.
I already know the sound is bugging out.
Can y'all hear me?
I already know the sound is bugging out. Hold on.
Can't hear him.
He's on mute. Nah.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Leo, we can hear you, Leo.
How about me?
Okay.
Can't hear Julius, though.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah,
Okay.
loud and clear.
Hope y'all doing good. Yo, Fury sounds fucking hilarious when he's swearing.
He does.
You're a fucking docile. You're getting fucking knocked out, you fucking little
You're
bitch.
knocked spark out. He
He has that raspy ass crackhead voice. You get knocked the fuck out, you fucking docile.
You big bomb dosa. You get.
He's a little scary ass bitch. And he won't do shit about it. That shit was hilarious.
He got
It's
crushed
crazy.
in the sack fight. He got crushed in the first fight, and I'm about to destroy him on October 9th.
He said, "You got knocked the fuck out. You got fucking stopped."
Bruh. So let's get some procedure here. Okay, I'm gonna start off with Drew. Drew, you saw the press conference. You saw the back and forth. What was your interpretation of that?
Oh man, it was doing the psychoanalyzing. You could see Wilder just doesn't look comfortable up there anymore.
I agree.
Because they were trying to push. Wilder been trying to push the racial angle the last two fights.
Yes, he has.
Even the first one, and he still just looks appalled that, damn, a white guy's really talking to me like this, and he really beat my ass. They get so convoluted with that shit that they're pushing over there with his YouTube fanatics that they say it's a mental delusion. They start believing all that bullshit. He believes he's a king. Like, bro, you ain't got no army. If you had a king, they would have had 1 million pay-per-view buys, bro. Come on, alone, just on your people.
So what I'm gonna say is this: does Wilder, did I guess the obvious question I have, because when I was watching the shit, he seemed like his body language and his pitch, his tone, and all that. He did seem distressed to me. And no, I'm not an expert. It's just one man's interpretation. Perhaps someone has a different one. To the people on the panel, he seemed distressed to all of you.
Absolutely. He seemed broken.
Look at his posture, Jules. Look at how his shoulders were, his chest.
He couldn't keep his head up at all.
You know, just the way he was moving. Like, just look at the body language. You could tell, like, he was looking around, like, just.
He had no confidence. It seemed like.
And everything all of his answers seemed to be scripted and like robotic. You know what I mean? Kind of like he's just like trying to put on a show for everybody.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like.
Or just the fact that he's like calm, cool, composed, and he's trying to hide the fact that he's really distressed.
That's what it felt
That's
like.
what it seemed like. He just looked for any kind of response. He was just
This is
dancing
the
around the
first time
questions.
he had to come to grips with like all the shit he was saying. Like it was conspiracy, the commission, Mark Breland, every bullshit he said. It's coming to his face like how fucking delusional it sounds that the entire white supremacy commission of Nevada and everything conspired to cheat against him because he's a black man.
Well, I mean, this is the first time.
I thought he wasn't.
This is the first time that I actually saw someone address it in full detail. That many people would have to be complicit with your conspiracy. It would have to be the Nevada State Athletic Commission, the World Boxing Council, members of your team, to fix a fight. Because fights get fixed, man. It has happened in the past, you know. And there are more practical ways of fixing a fight than what you're suggesting. I think the sentence that drove it home for me was, if it would have been one excuse, that would have been okay. But it was about 50. It was the costume. It was Mark Breland. It was fucking me. It was the fucking rap. You guys remember he blamed Kenny Bayless? He actually blamed Kenny Bayless.
He blamed himself. He's not a real fucking man. He can't take responsibility for shit. You lost. Get the fuck over it.
And then what really threw him for a loop was when Fury's like, yeah, I did that, you know. I did this, I did that. You better check Breland. But him just, okay, I did it. What's up? Now what?
I'm going to put you guys on the spot. Shout out to Tim Bradley, who's in the chat. For those of y'all that don't know, yes, that is Tim Bradley. Y'all say what up to Tim.
There's a storm.
What's going on?
There's a storm in the house.
We miss
Tim,
you, man.
we love how you keep putting these fighters on blast on ESPN. We love it.
Keep doing you, Tim. Keep doing you, Tim. Yes, sir.
One of the last great American fighters, I swear. They don't make him like the Desert Storm.
I dig it. Now, what I liked about it the most, even though, and I'm being honest, I felt bad for Wilder. I did. And it's just my interpretation that he had to deal with head on everything that was being said about him by Tyson. And the man that beat him, it's like, well, he already beat you, bro. So psychologically, yeah, that's punishing. That being said, what do y'all anticipate on Saturday?
First off, Tim, his Twitter got suspended because he doesn't like mangoes.
Oh, we're not gonna do. Nah, we're not gonna. Look,
Wait, what?
I had to
Wow. Hold on, what?
I'm just fucking with you.
We're not gonna do that, bro. We're not gonna do that. Look, God, I'm a God-fearing person. I believe in forgiveness, family, and whatever she doing, and that's all of that. I ain't got no hate in my heart. I got the laptop running again. I bet. Let me switch off from the laptop to the phone. This is so wild. Give me a second. All right, so bet I got the. Damn, I'm listening to myself.
Yo.
No, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. You can hear me?
I hear you.
Yeah,
right,
you good.
All right, bet. Yeah, this shit is wild, man. All right, bet. So let me click. I'm not going. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. All right, bet. Let me click off of that because that shit. I kept hearing myself talk. All right, bet. All right, y'all can hear me?
You good?
Yeah.
All right, bet. Let me hook up the mic, hook up the headphones and shit. All right, bet. Yeah, Tim, my ended because I got in a beef with somebody and they did the rat shit and got my account suspended. That's what happened. That's what happened to that account. I got a new account. It's IQ News. It's already up and all of that. But that's why my account got suspended. And they ratted me out. They snitched to the Twitter police, and I had to do a quick bid. That's what happened to that account, Tim. Now back to what we was talking about. Okay, Wilder, all of that. I'm gonna start with you, Sancho. Drew, what you think gonna happen on Saturday?
I think Fury's gonna. He got the blueprint now. He got the man's heart. He thoroughly outboxed him the first fight. Second fight, he took his soul. So Sugar Hill's just like more of that. We gonna go straight to his face and see if he got that the heart to handle that pressure again.
All right.
I don't see Wilder landing another flush right to put Fury down like he did in the first fight. I don't see Fury unless Fury starts playing around again like he did in that 12th round.
All right.
But if it's just straight up them going toe to toe, like Fury stepping to him and Wilder on his back foot, Wilder ain't got nothing for him.
All right. I'm gonna take it to AJ. AJ, is this beating gonna? Who do you have winning? Two, if it's Fury, is it gonna end quicker or as long as the last fight did?
Well, first and foremost, I have I got Fury winning because, in my opinion, he's a better fighter or boxer than Wilder in every single possible way. He's got the IQ, can outbox him, could stop him anytime. Could honestly, Fury could get in there and toy with him, in my opinion. You know what I mean? He can do whatever he wants. And as the answer to your second question, it's like how he ends could he end the fight sooner? Yeah, if he wants to, I believe so. I just see that happening. And also, I just like to point out that I know I said I wasn't going to watch this. I've actually had a change of heart. I'm actually going to go to the theaters and check it out because all this is playing out like a movie in my mind. So what better way to catch it like a movie and just make a party of it? Because I don't have a horse in the race. I really don't care who wins the fight.
Me neither.
So, no one gives a shit. So I'm just going to go to the movies, check it out, treat it kind of like it's a Marvel movie at the end. Somebody gets the Infinity Gauntlet, stuff like that. Then they can snap their fingers and hopefully erase the other guy. So that's how I see it going. And but anyway, I'm gonna jump off so you can get more people on here. But thank you, Ring, for having me on. Appreciate it. I got
no problem. Leo, you saw the press conference, or at least you heard the portion of it that I played. What do you make of all of this?
I think. Okay, let me say this. I feel like Wilder has tricked us, has deceived us all this time. He was on plain sight, but he managed to do it. Wilder is a man with poor skills, a decent punch, with that level of competition. He has always been that, and only that. He faced Fury the first time, a diminished Fury. He get a box. He faced Fury a second time, a Fury that knows, first of all, he has the chin to withstand Wilder's power. And the other thing he knows is a poor boxer that can be pushed, that can be clipped. And he beat him. He beat him the second time. So I don't expect any different in the third fight. Nothing.
So that being said, you don't expect to see any difference in the second fight. How did he look? How did he sound to you in the press conference?
Sounds like a deluded man that is being confronted of his delusions. Like, I gonna say he hasn't been confronting this much in 1 year, maybe more, about all the accusations he did, and Fury put him in the spot, and he didn't know what to do in that moment.
I'm gonna take it to Isan. Isan, you saw the press conference, you saw the first fight, you saw the second fight. What are you expecting on Saturday?
My bad, say again.
You saw the first fight, you saw the second fight, you saw the press conference. So what are you expecting on Saturday?
I expect Fury to win, but I don't know. I'm just getting like weird vibes. I mean, I think he should easily win, but I don't know, man. It just all depends on what kind of shape he's in,
Mm.
honestly.
Do you
But
give
like, I
you
think
giving
Fury for
Wilder a
sure.
shot? Are you giving Wilder a shot?
Small shot.
I mean, do you get the sense that maybe he's being like, because you can just say it. If you have Wilder winning, ain't nobody gonna, lambast you for it. But do you feel iffy, like Joshua Usyk iffy, Lomachenko Lopez iffy? Is that the vibe that you have? I don't.
My bad. This keeps cutting out. I keep missing the last part of your question. My bad.
I do you feel iffy like Joshua Usyk iffy, Lopez Lomachenko iffy? Is that how you feel right now about this Saturday's fight?
A little bit Lomatio-esque, but not like to the same degree. I don't give Wilder the same chance I gave Usyk, but a lot has happened. I don't know. I'm not too sure. But I think Fury, like, if I was a betting man, I'm putting money on Fury for sure.
Okay. So I'm gonna take it to Alexis. Alexis, you saw the first fight. You saw the second fight. I'm assuming you saw the press conference, or at least heard the portion of it that I played here a few minutes ago. What do you make of all of this?
Well, I think that it sets up perfectly to, for the fruition of that guy's character to come to manifest itself in the ring. I also don't think that Wilder. I think that Wilder might look a little slower in the ring. I think that all that quick twitch muscle that he had, that elasticity, that whiplash, might be affected by all that weightlifting he's doing. So I think that he's the type of fighter that magical touch that he had. That I mean, you could talk anything you want about Wilder as far as his character, things like that. But that punch was ridiculous, and it would come out of nowhere, and it was just a snap to it, And I think that might be affected. I know that Fury's been hit by it a couple of times already, and just like snake bites, you start developing an immunity to it. You dig? But as far as Fury's concerned, I was a little concerned as far as him going back and forth with the daughter and flying back to Europe and things like that. But he looked great upstairs. I mean, he looked great up there. And the way that Fury talked to Wilder, called him a bitch to his face, pointed out that JD's was in the locker room. That was a big moment.
Yes.
He says JD's was in that locker room. You fired Mark Brilliant. JD's was the one in the locker room. Why are you not? What's he doing here, man? He's still on it, and what was he doing? I mean, what's his name? Wilder said absolutely nothing to him. All he could muster up was don't worry about him. Don't worry about him. Don't worry about him. That shit was weak. And here's the thing. This is the moment where I felt Wilder showed his weakness. His intention was not to talk.
Yes.
His intention was
to
ignore him.
You caught that too. That
His
he said I wasn't
intention
going
was not to
talk.
respond. And then he found himself responding.
Because Fury hit a fucking nerve. That's what happened. Because that's how I took it. That like, he said he wasn't going to talk. And then Fury says something. And it sounded like Wilder wasn't going to talk because his voice cracked. Like you really wasn't going to talk. And then he hit a nerve. So what are you expecting on Saturday, Alexis?
I'm expecting Fury to stop him. I believe it'll be, later rounds due to, it'll be some exhaustion to Wilder's newfound muscular physique. I think he's gonna gas him out, And I think that, just like Mike Tyson said, man, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. And no matter how long he's been with this new trainer, that he's got a year and this and that, and he's looking. So first of all, he doesn't look great to me, and even in the videos
He does.
that he's been putting out. But whatever he's trying to do, that goes out the window the moment he gets jabbed that first time. Whack! You're gonna revert to do what you've always been doing. It takes a few fights with a trainer for you to change, I believe. You know,
It does.
that's
No,
what
it
I
does. I mean, it does. It does. It does. Tim Witherspoon, for us old heads, we know that name, Tim Witherspoon.
Yeah, definitely.
He said something that I said here on the channel, right, in reference to the footage that Wilder was releasing of himself hitting mitts and lifting weights and pushing logs and Rocky montages. Why are you posting videos of yourself doing that? Look, I'm fucking 38 years old. I've never seen a guy in camp release that much footage of what he's doing. I've never seen that before. Like, bro, if you're working on things, you just removed every element of surprise you might have had because you're showing everyone. I've never seen anything like that before. Virtuoso, if Wilder loses, this is a different question for you.
Okay.
If Wilder loses, regardless of how, what happens on YouTube? What happens on Twitter? What should we expect?
You know, Julius, I'm glad you asked me that question because
I'm glad
this
I
is
asked you that.
yeah, this is the only fight of the year where I'm actually anticipating the aftermath than the fight itself.
Agreed.
Can you believe that? Like,
Uh-huh.
I honestly, bro, just like the rest of you, I did not ask for this fight. Um, this saga, you know, it has been mostly a shit show. And from what I saw from the press conference today, the leaked photos of Deontay's new suit, and pretty much the same thing. It's the same theme. It's banters back and forth, but Wilder is not responding because he doesn't have the words to say, "Yo, I've messed up. I'm gonna show you that I've gotten better." None of that. It's mostly blase las, a few riddles there, you know, poetry, and then him mostly shutting the fuck up. But speaking of shutting the fuck up, the most entertaining part was what happened after the press conference with Bob Arum, the honorable
Yes.
Bob Arum.
Honorable.
Not sounding way too honorable there, but I loved it.
No, I almost ejaculate. No, I didn't ejaculate, but I loved it. I loved it.
No, but almost.
No, but casi, because it's about fucking time, bro. Like your dog. This man, it's like this generation. Look, let me calm down because I'm old.
Coppinger has a humiliation kink, bro. He likes this shit.
He's a sadist. He's a sadist for himself because it's like your dog.
Masochist.
He's a masochist. That's the word I was looking for. He's like le gusta ese masoquismo. This is a promoter. He's not Al fucking Heyman, whose cock you want to smoke. You know, he's not Al Heyman. He's not a newbie. You know, he's not Eddie. He's not like a young guy, new generation. No, this is Bob Arum, Ali, Hagler, De La Hoya, Pacquiao, Mayweather, Cotto, Loma, Tio. That Bob Arum. And you talking to him like you gonna tell him something about boxing. Like you fucking were. Like, yo, you should have. I should have. That's why I love the response. Like, bro, I'm not gonna sit here and explain finances.
What was he said before he told him to shut the fuck up? What is he about to say?
He said you should have given him what he asked for. That's basically what he said.
Given who what he asked for?
Tio.
Oh, really? So during a
this?
press conference for fucking Fury and Wilder 3, you're gonna ask a Tio question after what the fuck you just after all the shit you reported, all the fucking caps, bro. You like, what did you expect for him? Like, after all the stuff about the missed deadlines and all that stuff, and you creating all these narratives and all that stuff. You're running spin for PBC. Now that you're ESPN, you're gonna have to deal with this dude who doesn't want none of your shit. And I'm glad he actually said that because like there's a point where it's like, dude, you don't know shit about boxing.
I mean, he doesn't, and he is a shill, and it's not a reporter's place. This is the main thing, right? Because you can have your opinions, but you actually are a pundit. You know, me and you and everybody on this panel, we can have our opinions and we can talk amongst ourselves about what those opinions are. An actual member of the media that is with a major news outlet and a major network, you do realize it's not your place to tell him how to do business. It's not. You're supposed to be neutral. Neutral. You ask questions. You don't give advice. Who the fuck are you to tell him, who's been in this business for 50 years, what to pay his fighter? Do you have access to his books to be telling him that? Because it's at its base, it is a common sense argument. There are words you do not use. Should is one of them. Should. You're going to tell me what I should do. You fucking, like, what?
So let me just say this to the gentleman who just spoke. So just to give him a real clear picture of what happened. So it wasn't that Coppinger brought up this question out of nowhere. Bob was actually talking to somebody else about the Tio situation, where Bob said that it is criminal for Triller to have, and their shenanigans and their inability to put on a fight, to have kept Teofimo Lopez out of the ring for over a year. At that point, Coppinger chimes in. Well, if you would have paid him what he wanted, it wouldn't have gone to purse bid. And then Bob reacted. Now here's this, right? The venomous way Bob came at him has me thinking that guy Coppinger is about to really seal his fate in the same way that, what's his name? El Gordo.
Dan Rafael, yes.
Dan Rafael did. I don't know if anybody y'all know that, but Bob didn't like Dan Rafael. He's had him, used to sit him in the worst seats. Had him one time, he had a view the fight from the production truck. He would from the production truck. That's a fact.
Damn.
You understand? So listen, Bob's not somebody to play with, man. And as far as Coppinger's concerned, all he has to do is like, dude, if you really about and now there was some venom in the way that he came at Bob.
Yes, it was.
You could tell he really didn't like this guy. Oh, like, you're a liar. He's always painting Bob to be this fucking liar. Meanwhile, he's one of the few people who come and tell you the fucking truth. Crawford, I ain't got no fucking money with him. I don't think I'm going to resign him. I mean, like, who the fuck does that? Then you want to report on him saying you the truth. But which one is? Is he a liar or is he too blunt? You know? So then, when Coppinger came at him, you see the venomous way. No, you see, it was more than, he wasn't just defending Tio. This was some really ingrown shit.
No, he was on his fucking high horse, bro. His moral high horse. Andale.
And
his fucking high horse.
But you come off as an idiot because if you were really a reporter and you really knew about boxing, you would understand that A, the fight wasn't worth what was bid. B, it wasn't a question of not paying Tio what he was worth or what he was asking for. It was a question about not paying more for the event than the event was worth. It's the event, not the fighter. And if you don't know about that, then also, if you really are into investigation, then you could find out that Tio was offered other ways of making that. He was offered, listen, just drop this fucking belt, give us Lomachenko, you will get this money that you want, even more than what you want. You understand? But Coppinger doesn't, because he's too involved in his own hatred and his own nonsense. I don't know what the hell's going on.
No, te lo voy a decir. Lo que es con ese tipo es que he's fake woke. He has been sold a bill of goods by people who think that there's something wrong. Check this shit. We talk about it all the time. These people think that there's something wrong with a promoter getting a return on his own fucking investment.
Hello.
And this is coming from people, te lo estoy diciendo, muerto de hambre, gente que están en olla, people that's not used to doing no business on no level, not even trade bags, nicks and dimes. They don't know nothing about nothing. They don't know nothing. They're like, yo, dog, you do realize he's already invested in Teofimo, and you're trying to chastise him because he wants a return on his own fucking investment?
You know what the irony here is? That the scenario that he would like to see from a promoter where they make no money and just give you fights for apparently no reason. Well, guess what? Top Rank actually did that when they put those bubble fights and paid Shakur Stevenson almost $500,000 with nobody in there against all those fights that they put on when nobody else was able to put on a fight. They made no money. Plus, it cost them $500,000 a show to cover all those COVID tests and the emergency room and all this stuff. Nobody gives that credit. Nobody even acknowledges.
No, pero ponlo tú. Ese hijo de puta. I bet you he'll celebrate a shitty fucking stupid fucking fight like Davis versus Rowley, but you won't give Bob credit for giving us Loma versus Lopez on regular ESPN.
Exactly.
Taylor versus Ramirez. Taylor versus Ramirez on regular ESPN. Better be versus Vosdick on regular ESPN. You don't give that dude no credit for nothing, but you'll suck Al Heyman's dick for gouging the fight fans because you a fake woke jackass and a fucking laughing stock.
Okay, listen. While reporting fake pay-per-view numbers in excess. 200K.
Dude, Theo, if Julius is right, for me, in my opinion, Theo getting $1.5 million for the Lomachenko fight, for me, that is already a lot. At that time.
With no fans.
With no fans.
With no fans. That is actually a lot. After that win, yeah, maybe 1.5, 2 million.
And Loma making 3.5 for that fight. So that's $5 million with no fans that he's putting out in a bubble and paying $500,000 to cover all the COVID tests and all the security around that stuff or whatever, the medical expenses. Nobody, listen, man, this is ridiculous.
Listen. People that don't, and I'm not fucking being a prick, I'm dead ass. If you ain't ever sold a tray bag or even a fucking nickel or whatever, bag of shake, shut the fuck up about business.
Seriously,
you don't know what the fuck you talking about, because what you saying is that Bob is supposed to just give you free shit for who the fuck does business like that? When you put up money for a promotion and you put up money for a card, it is with the hope that you turn over a profit. You at least hope to at least break even, but the goal is to make money, not give it away. You don't invest in fighters just to be investing in fighters. No, you invest in fighters in the hope that they will make you money. And not one of these muertos de hambre y gente que están en olla, none of them are in the business of giving money away. So why do you expect other people to give money away? Because that is what you're asking for. None of you bleeding heart bastards was going to buy that fight when it was on pay-per-view, and I was the first one that said it. I'll take my credit for that. I told y'all they was going to try to get it on pay-per-view, and when I asked around, you going to buy that? No, resounding fucking why? Because it doesn't belong on pay-per-view. And that's what Bob was trying to tell y'all. Like, bro, this fight is not worth that. You want an arm and a leg for a low-ass fight. That ain't about to happen. Now let that boy learn his lesson, because that's what's going on. The worst thing that could have happened to Teofimo is if Triller would have put the fight on, because then you would have been exposed. Then it would have been exposed that you do realize that you get less money than Devin, and you have about the same marquee value. He's not that popular, and neither are you.
Neither are you.
What fans you got? Who? You don't have the Mexicans. You don't. You ain't got the Puerto Rocks.
He doesn't even have the Hondurans. I told you the story. I bumped into a Honduran guy, right? About 35 years old, little kid. We were. I was coming up from Georgia, right? Gas station. Little kid has a little shirt. He's about 8 years old. It says Honduras. So me, right? Me always trying to take the opportunity. I'm like, yo, Honduras, and then I go, Teofimo Lopez, and homeboy looked at me like I had 35 heads. And I said, you never heard of Teofimo Lopez? I'm talking Spanish. This guy didn't even speak English, bro. It was like that kind of Honduras. One of those working types, day laborers types. And he was like, no sé quién es. I said, ese es hondureño. Ese es indisputado campeón de la 135. No sé quién es. No sé quién es. Listen. Yo, when you can't get your own motherfucking people.
Oye, I could call my man from Honduras que es garífuna. Él es garífuna. They speak that different language. They don't even speak Spanish. Y si yo le pregunto a este tipo, mira, ¿tú conoces a Teofimo López? He's going to look at me like I landed on a spaceship. If I call my homegirl that I used to work with, that she's from Honduras, but she's not garífuna, ella tiene la piel clara. Yo, ¿tú conoces un tipo que se llama Teofimo López de Honduras? De Honduras. She's going to look at that kid. She's going to be like, he's from Honduras. All right, well, no, I don't know. So deja la vaina. Everything in boxing is about what you can generate. The goal is to get out there enough times that you become popular and people become excited about you and excited about your fights to where you start generating serious boatloads of cash. And you can't do that if you haven't fucking fought in a year.
And where Teofimo Lopez really missed the boat is in the building of a superstar, is that they can create the illusion that you're a motherfucking star and then a big attraction and like you're a big deal. But then once you put yourself in a position where you get exposed, as you can't sell a ticket in fucking Florida when you grew up there, in Miami. You know what I'm saying? And then the other fiasco that people didn't understand, the reason why Teofimo Lopez did not go to Australia, everybody just sit down and relax and listen to this carefully. The reason why he didn't go to Australia wasn't because of this in the 2 weeks. No. The reason why he didn't go to Australia is because in Australia, that event is worth more money than he would make without that. But now he's locked into a price. Yeah. The guys from Triller had a product. They paid for it. They were going to sell it to some other Australian promoter who was going to be able to make money with that shit. But then Teofimo Lopez said, whoa, I'm stuck with this little 3.5 million I already locked myself into. When I know that Top Rank, when they thought that the fight could be in Australia, I was about to make about $6, $7, $8 million. So he knew what it was going to be worth in Australia, and he knew he was going to get that shit back, locked into a lower price. So all these little things, you got to connect the dot.
And that's him not playing his. That's him not playing his role. Don't matter what I's got to fight. What I give you don't matter what I sell it for. That's none of your business.
Exactly.
That's on some street shit. Like what I get from the
it's,
bundle don't mean what you ain't got nothing to do with what happens after that.
Exactly. And that's what happens. Yep. That's what happens when fighters try to be suits. You don't understand. Top of that,
Tio's not going to get better.
Exactly.
As long as David McWaters is in his corner, it's only going to get worse. Let him get another big win. Oh my God! Imagine, let him beat Josh Taylor, and he's going to want $10 million a fight.
Mira, lo más malo que pueden hacer is let him fight Josh Taylor. Let me read these super chats real quick. All the videos he's released, he being Wilder, with the dancing and all the shit he's been talking, seemed like nervous energy to me. Then he tried to go silent. And he's embarrassed. His ego, pa mí, lo que yo veo en ese tipo es que he's broken. Liam Roskell says, IQ, you know I'm highly biased in this situation. Don't be surprised if George bursts the Lopez bubble. If he did, I'd fucking laugh really fucking hard. I'm not even gonna bullshit you. If that happened,
that would be humiliating.
I'd laugh really fucking hard. And then
all the stalling, the fucking I don't need no rematch with Loma, and like, oh man.
Listen,
that's
I think that the fight's
not happen, but that's unrealistic.
Listen, he's stuck between a rock and a hard place because he's been taking shots at Davis, right? But we know you're not going to get Davis. Like, we know that. You're not going to get Ryan. Haney's going to want too much money. That's why that's an avenue that is not going to be explored. Devin Haney made $3 million cash fighting Jorge Linares. What's he going to want for you? a lot more than Top Rank's willing to give him. So that won't happen in a nutshell. You have two options because you can't impose a catch weight on Josh. You cannot impose a catch weight on him. If you move up to 140 and you have any aspirations of getting a belt there, you have to go through him, and you cannot impose a catch weight.
Of
You
course,
can't.
you know, I'm gonna tell you the truth.
No.
This latest thing, idea by Lopez that they fight at a catch weight to create the whole. Everybody's got whatever the 2 weight class, 8 belts being on the line or whatever 7, depending on how you feel about Lopez's belt, right? It reeks of desperation. First of all, why would Josh Taylor do that?
Because
He's
Josh
not ever going to campaign at the 135. That shit is meaningless to him. He's not the one that's being whose undisputedness is being disputed.
Nah, Drew said it
He's
the
not
best.
the one with. He ain't the one with the first 5 belt.
Drew said it the
Exactly.
best. Drew said it the best from the takeover to the layover. That's the takeover to the layover.
Yo, that takeover shit, it really was catching on for a minute.
It was for like
And
10 fucking seconds.
He put that shit on ice, man.
And
He put
Loma
it on ice.
and Loma took his Heisman Trophy date.
Se jodió.
Yeah.
Se jodió.
So
and,
wait a
and
minute.
T.O.
Wait
don't
a
want to
minute.
admit him fighting Taylor is bigger in Scotland than Taylor fighting him over here.
And this is the
Pretty
thing.
much.
And look, I'm gonna say this. And people are gonna think I'm on my bullshit. And I'm dead ass. That fucking fight does not belong in America. It don't.
Mm-hmm.
That fight makes money across the Atlantic Ocean. Josh fucking Taylor. And he earned his right. Why? You won your belts at home. He had to fucking come here to win his belts.
And they wanted to rob him on the
Mm-hmm.
cards.
All right.
Yeah.
So enough. Either you go to me the way I want it in my ideal world, you either fucking go over there or you don't want it. And don't give me you see the shit I'm not going to the UK. It's not.
He said that.
He said that. I'm not going to the UK. It's not because of what you mean you're not going to the UK? The dude from the UK came here. He wasn't bitching and crying about it like you bitching and crying about it. And this is why I keep saying American fighters entitlement.
Spoiled entitlement.
Okay.
Yo,
Okay, I want to say this.
man. Go ahead.
Okay, I want to say this. I understand Teofimo Lopez is a grown man, but he's also a kid. He is a kid. Okay. You don't have to know everything. I can imagine after the Loma fight, you being hype as fuck. I am the fucking king of the world, the only man who beat Loma decisively. Okay, but yeah, okay. You don't want to listen to Bob Arum. Someone in your team should have look at you at your face and say, "Motherfucker, you don't have fans. You don't really have fans." Someone. That money you are asking, you are not getting it. You don't have fans.
Ellos le tenían que decirle a él, I'm going to pass it to you next, Virtuoso. Ellos le tenían que decirle a él, mira, do you remember when Antonio Tarver knocked out Roy Jones? He's going to say, I don't remember. Well, there was this guy named Antonio Tarver. He knocked out Roy Jones. What if I told you that he never went on to be as popular as Roy Jones? Because that's what you need to know, that just because you beat him, Ugas just beat Pacquiao. Does Ugas have the fanfare that Pacquiao had?
Nope.
No. So I mean, think about it. You got to think about it. Go ahead, Virtuoso.
Well, to be fair, I think Teofimo has a fledgling fan base, but he's really jeopardizing this on this diva tactics, man. I tell you, man, it's like this, man. Fighters, because well, let me start off by this on this point, because America is like the headquarters of global capitalism, right? It's the richest country in the world, right? And they have the privilege of living here, right? And that gives them the false impression that they're special because they're promoted in this country. But when they look at the balance sheet of ticket sales, pay-per-view buy rates, mentions in the news cycle, which is very limited, you'll notice that that its popularity is kind of diminishing. It's still there, but it's diminishing in terms of attention. Um, they don't know what like I said, we talked about this before. They're not doing the things that are required to become a star. How to build a fan base, how to garner a following, so that you can have all this weight around you to be, all this, promotional, and and all these barbers that are going to be flying in for you to watch, to watch you fight on pay-per-view. But he doesn't have that yet, and it's too much too soon. That 3 million that he fought for Lomachenko, that kind of really this soured things over, because he threatened at first. He threatened to not fight him because of that, when he knew that he was going to get that money regardless. The cards were there; they were pre-written. He won the fight, but I mean that arguably, because there's some people that didn't think he won the fight. But that was there like to kind of protect his ego, you know, and the hope of him,
Rubbing
rematching
in the
Loma.
sound.
He had to shoot that down. But it's like I say, man, you can't rule momentum in this sport. This should be strike while the iron is hot type of sport.
It's that. Well, now let me read the super chats. I got them building up. The Wilder training videos are like the social media posts that women put showing their perfect family, and then we know the sad reality. Yeah, that they only got furniture in the living room, and the rest of the house is barren. Ronnie Boy, shout out to
Yeah.
Ronnie Boy, my man. He says, I'm still saying Tio about to lose them straps on the scale, and Lopez versus Ramirez, Pedraza coming soon, or Barboza. Barboza been wanting a piece of him. A lot of people ain't been noticing that. Barboza want a piece of him,
Mm.
and he might
Yeah,
fucking
yo,
get it.
Barbosa want that smoke. Hey, Ron Boy, we know there's only one Charlo over there, baby. Melly Mel, Jamel Charlo. That's it.
Big Big Mel. I'm gonna say this. Look, I'm gonna say this. And it touches on what Ronnie Boy is hinting at, because I feel like Ronnie's touching on it. And I mentioned it earlier. When Loma had the straps, Top Rank did not have this problem. You get the straps, they're not in circulation for a year, you don't fight. Maybe we need to alleviate you of that burden. So if he does fight Vasil Lomachenko again, because I think he got a lot more consideration than, it was a close fight. I'm okay with him getting a decision, but one of those cards was really wide. And Alexis actually said this months ago, you could sell Tio a little more than you could sell Loma because of the language barrier. You can connect with
Hmm.
Tio. Tio fucked that up for himself. Tio fucked that up for himself. Getting ahead of himself, getting a big head. You should have let the big machine work for you. You thought you were bigger than the big machine. You're not. You're not.
He didn't view his
You know,
connection. He didn't view his connection to that top rank and that big machine as he didn't value it as he did as much as the money himself. What ESPN can actually do for you based on your performance and how you can sell yourself, the bullhorn that it can give you, that's value in that, and that should go into your thinking when you're factoring in the equation of whether I should go fight on Trill. It was so clear, man. It was so crazy. But let me just say this, please. This whole thing, it's got me. That whole Hearn to the rescue. I'm looking at the shit on your freaking thing. It says Hearn to the rescue. Let me tell you something, bro. This is not Hearn to the rescue. It's the fight that's rescuing Hearn, man. I said he's got no product on the American market. Look at the fights that are coming up. What's his name? Mikey Garcia against who the fuck?
Espera. Te voy a decir. Déjame decirte. It's not a happenstance. It's not random. Remember, Hearn went against the grain. He could have colluded with Top Rank and not bid, but he chose to bid. So if he has the fight, it is strategy on his part, and I'm giving him the credit because they didn't want him to bid. They didn't want him to bid, but he
I
said,
agree.
"Fuck." He said, "Fuck that. I'm gonna bid," and that's why he has the fight.
I agree. No, I agree 1,000% from that perspective. But hey, you have to look at everything as it was at the moment. At the time he bid for the fight, Tio and Top Rank were at odds. There was this thought that he could jump and this and that, and he didn't want to, his contract was, I don't know how much was left on it. I don't know what the hell it was, but there was a real thought that Hearn could, just bid on this fight, get that fight on this network, and kind of just woo him right in front of Top Rank and just kind of like lift him right off the fucking page. That's not the question right now. Tio's already signed an extension with Top.
That's true.
So that's the biggest difference. The thing that I'm getting at, my friend, Ring IQ, is that this fight has value to Hearn because he's got nothing. If you look at you remember the show The Wire, right?
Yeah.
Remember when what's his name? It was Stringer Bell and who else? The partners.
In my defense, I didn't watch The Wire. I don't watch a lot of television.
Okay, well, forget it.
Barksdale. I think that's so.
Barksdale went to jail. Yeah. Their organization had no muscle and no product, right? And then Stringer Bell was stuck. They had all these buildings and all this territory and no product. So what he did is that he went to Prop Joe to get the product, because if you have this territory, instead of worrying about this, you need product. That's, to me, what's happening with Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn's got the zone. He's got a barren winter, bro. Look at his winter is barren. His main man just got fucked up by fucking.
Listen, I'm not disagreeing with you, Alexis.
But also Eddie Hearn's MO is not just America. Eddie Hearn's MO is not just America, man. It's global.
Let's not even
but he still needs product, my brother. He still needs product.
Developing product. It's a long-term approach, brother. Like, that's why they're working in Mexico with Canelo. It's long-term. It's the macro, not the micro.
Listen, after the Mauricio Lara fight, when Josh Warrington, ese mexicano le dio un pecozón, putazo, right? Eddie gets to thinking, damn, man, they probably got a lot of Mauricio. I read an article where I think he was talking about it with Canelo, because that's what he's going to work with down there. Like, yo, you got a lot of Mauricio Laras down there, bro. A lot of guys, they're good guys. They just don't get the opportunities. He goes down to Mexico. So if you start, I mean, I'm not forecasting it, but that's what could happen.
No, Eddie Hearn's doing the Dana White thing. They're trying to develop these countries where they know fans support combat sports. Eddie already seen Americans don't support combat sports like the UK, like Mexico, like Pacquiao in the Philippines, like Japanese support Inoue and Murata. America's a lost cause in terms of combat sports, in terms of getting that type of support, because the fighters don't want to be active enough to develop the market. So Eddie's got equity in the zone. Like, they're worried about getting BT Sports, getting those fucking Premier Soccer League rights. They could give a fuck about boxing and MMA. That's content fillers for them. It makes them a few dollars here and there, a big event when AJ fights or Canelo fights on the platform. But other than that, it's just content fillers.
I mean, this is the thing. I'm not gonna say that they tried to take over the American market, and it looks like they found out something that they didn't know. America's not what it used to be. You shouldn't have frittered away so much money trying to conquer a dwindling market, because that's what this is. You have champions.
It's not even that.
You have Spence. You have Crawford.
It's not even that, Julius. I really do feel that they're trying to sabotage his product here in America. They're trying to prevent him from expanding. Listen, I really do feel like they're
going to collude against someone that's.
Look. It's not that. It's that. No, it's that. Look, you're saying they're trying to sabotage him, right? I agree with you, but that goes without saying. Of course, they're trying to sabotage him. You think they want him to succeed? Of course not. They're competitors. It's not that. It's that it looks like the zone and Hearn didn't know that in America, it's a bunch of fucking thieves and cheapskates. There's no point in trying to conquer the American market. Look at who's got the run of the place. Al Heyman and his mediocre pay-per-views. Bob is Bob. Bob will survive, right? Because Top Rank is the gold standard. Nobody likes to hear that, but it's the fucking truth. You don't end up with Oscar and Cotto and Floyd and Manny and Tim and Tio.
That's not luck.
That's
No,
not luck.
nobody scouts and match makes like Top Rank. Still,
Nobody.
No,
Nobody.
nobody.
All right? But trying to conquer the American market, they realized for what? For what? They didn't, I don't think they knew that when they debuted here. You're offering these morons career high paydays they can't get, they don't take it because they're fucking morons, right? And America's bent. The American boxing infrastructure, yeah, it's bent in the UK. Yeah. It's not as bent as it is here. You had a guy. Davis turns down $7 million to fight Tevin Farmer, and you said no?
And Jules, go even further. The biggest mainstream combat sport athletes, none of them are American. You got Canelo, you got Joshua, you got Conor McGregor. Who else? Triple G was at one point in time when he.
No,
Jake Paul.
Keep going.
Jake Paul. That's it. I'm being dead serious.
Yo,
what combat sport athlete has a
This is
global
another
reach?
thing that I like that we need to touch on is that yeah, he promotes these fighters stateside, like co-promotes with Haney, and he promotes Andre, right? For every they're ruining their careers, they're not really moving well with Eddie Hearn. There's you gotta ask, well, who's fighting them? Who's looking for them to generate interest? For the fans to deliver this fight. Who's fighting them?
It's not even that.
Who?
Let's say, right? Let's just say that Charlo would have said yes to the fight. Let's say he would have said yes. I'll take the $7 million and fight Andre on your platform. What business does that really do? Charlo doesn't have a lot of fans. That's proven. He was on pay-per-view. He doesn't have a lot of fans. We know Andre doesn't, right? Let's say, Lopez Davis. That's the only one I think moves the needle. I mean, Lopez Davis, Haney Davis. That would have moved the needle, But the majority of these American fighters, they literally don't have paying custom. They don't. I'm sorry, but that's reality. That's the truth. These guys will always opt to steal. The zone when it debuted in America was $9.99. You literally had people complaining. $9.99. You think you don't look at that as value for money? Well, I'm gonna tell you what. You have bigger problems than what's going on in boxing. If you don't
and what sucks is the zone came a little. Had they done all this post-pandemic, those fighters that aren't getting paydays and dates now, they would have hopped on these paydays now.
Some of them.
The money, look at Crawford Porter. PBC didn't want to put up that money. Keith Thurman sitting on a shelf. Gary Russell on a shelf. There's the pocket's dwindling.
Listen, Gary, I don't want to talk about fucking Gary Russ because he to me is the poster child of the American boxer. He is the fucking yo, dog, who the fuck do you think is checking for you? Who? You need to be out there. No, you only want to. All right, look, just keep doing what you're doing and keep talking about people in interviews and talking about fights you had when you were a fucking child in the amateurs. That just because that is the microcosm for the American populace as a society. It's fucking backwards now. It's back. Nobody wants to work for nothing. You can't fight once a year. You're a fucking featherweight. Do you think Americans characteristically don't give a fuck about the little men? They don't. Your division is not a glamour weight. Sorry, but it's not. So
they look for the leader weight classes when those guys move up in weight.
Yep.
Exactly.
Manny didn't become Manny till he was starting approaching welterweight. Let me read the super chats. You made a great point, Julius. Bob has given us some big fights for free, and PBC has made us pay for some bullshit. Ain't that the truth? Jaime also says Jamal was on pay-per-view and Jamel, and it thank you, because that's what they don't have fans, bro. So what we were talking about earlier, had Triller actually put on the fight and what that would have exposed. Once you're on pay-per-view, the jig is up. It's all on you now and your fans, if you have them. They put y'all on pay-per-view. I'm not going to argue about the Charlo brothers with no one. Why? They were already on pay-per-view. Where were all these outraged individuals that want to argue with me? Where were they? Because they wasn't buying that fucking fight. 100 pay-per-view buys? and y'all was clowning Triple G. I don't think them dudes ever sell $1 million or
Not even
500,000.
100.
$500,000. It won't happen, right? Why? Because they're relying on you. They marketed them towards not guys like me that, yo, I want to see boxing matches, bro. I don't got nothing against you. I just want to see you versus Andre. Now, fuck me, right?
Yeah.
Fuck the guys like me that pay. Now, let's just do this World Star. Let's feature the World Star demo and market them towards them, not realizing you do realize that they're just going to stream you a fight. You do realize that, right? The same way that, and I always come back to this, the same way that motherfuckers are big up Jadakiss in the street all motherfucking day. But when they put out his album, what did the hood do? Bootleg it. To the point where to bootleg the shit out of it. Did Jada see any of that money? No. I don't need that love. You see what I mean? Nobody needs that love. That quote unquote love. Like, bro, yeah, they rock with you when it's free or when it's at a discount. When it counts, they don't fuck
And
with
it goes back to Jules' point. PBC's run like a record label. Al Heyman gets them chains, the jewelry, some couple cars, couple 100,000 after a fight. All your real money's in an annuity with this PBC equity, and it'll mature when I tell you it matures.
Why is Broner asking for a fucking Omar Figueroa fight? Bro, for that, retire. He's literally on Instagram asking for a Omar. Who like what you think people are gonna be hyped over that fight? Omar, like, look, I don't want to kick no man when he down, but I'm just being real with you now. That fight don't move the needle. If you want to get,
they're all running away from Ennis, Jules. They don't want none of them want to get baptized by Boots.
Bro, he running away from Prograde because that's the only reason Prograde went over there. He thought he could get a Broner fight, and when he seen he couldn't get it, he got the fuck out of there. It's like, yo, don't you want, and Broner's another one. You want buku dollars for what ain't big fights. You want buku, clearly, you don't want to get it. You want buku dollars for what are not big, and it ain't gonna happen because the business don't work that way. If you want dollars and you want to get back into relevance, yeah, you're gonna have to take on some of these guys that might beat the shit out of you. Yeah, you have to. You have to. There's no two way. Look. Andy Ruiz's big win over Anthony Joshua, right? That is how it's done. Short notice. This is my opportunity. This is my shot. I'm gonna summon whatever the fuck it is I have to knock this motherfucker out. All I need is the opportunity. That's the mindset you need to be in. Because you waiting for the shit to be perfect, and it ain't gonna be perfect. Oh no, I need 8, 9. Remember Caleb Plant when they first went to him? Nah, that's not enough time. That's not enough time. No. This bullshit. Like, bro, it's Canelo Alvarez. He's come to you 3 times. You deserve everything you're about to get. Because you made this man come to you 3 times. When have you ever seen Canelo go to a guy 3 fucking times?
Okay, I think we are not addressing the elephant in the room.
All right.
We talk about the promoters and the fighters a lot, but for me, the real issue, almost unsolvable, can be solved, is the boxing organizers, the WBC, the WBO, because in the way they don't enforce the ranks, titles get in isolation islands. They fighters champions like Gary Russell Jr. spend mad time without fighting.
That's true.
So you can expect have a real star with a title, with credentials, with this guy fighting top opposition all the time. You can't. Wait, and promoters gonna promote. They're gonna find that very interesting. Look, Wilder, the WBC and Wilder is the finest example. You know the WBC is getting paid under the table. You know it. You fucking know it, because how this guy is gonna make you money if he doesn't fight in a year? How? He can't. Wilder or Fury should have been stripped long time ago.
That's true.
Why they are not being stripped? Because they're paying you from under the table. There's no other explanation.
Look, let's say this. To your point about Gary Russell and fighters that get to hang on to titles for a long time, this is where I agree. Even though it's a bigger problem than just the alphabets, because the alphabets fall in line with the promoters who fall in line with what the networks want. So it's really about the networks and the division of the networks. But the part about the alphabets that rings true is the only reason we're even talking about Gary is because he has a title. If he didn't have a title, if he was stripped, we don't talk about Gary. Gary's holding up the division. You're holding up undisputed status and unification matches. Why? You have a title, and they won't fucking strip you. So to that point, I agree. We got Porter versus Crawford because Paco did his fucking job.
Yeah.
That's why we got it. That's why we got it. Because Paco, unlike Mauricio, did his fucking job. Shout out to Puerto Rico. The WBO is a Puerto Rican-based outfit. Mauricio, bro, there's no reason for Fury to still have that belt because there were mandatories being called last year. You let him hang on to it. Their business affairs are not your concern. Your title that he's holding is your concern. And there were mandatories called in the thick of the pandemic. Now, Dillian, that fight should have got already called. Let me read the super chats. He asking for it cause Al holding all his money and giving all these PBC fighters allowances got them on a non-disclosure clause. Non-disparagement also. Carlos says, why do you think they keep making these garbage pay-per-views if it's not selling? I'll tell you why. They struck a deal with a pay-per-view distributor. So it's my understanding that they're not the pay-per-view distributor, since the PBC is dealing with them directly, they're getting a little bit more of that money. That's basically why they keep doing it. That in unison with fighters that want astronomical money that the network's not going to give them. Like, bro, Andy Ruiz ends up on pay-per-view with Chris Arreola. How? Because Andy want to get paid like he fighting Anthony Joshua. You're not fighting Anthony Joshua. The only reason you got that money was because of Anthony Joshua's fans. But you want to keep getting paid that way. The network's not going to give it to you. So they'll say, okay, we'll put you on pay-per-view and let your fans pay for it, not realizing he doesn't have that many fans.
That's what they're not understanding is that each fight is like comes with a different price tag. They don't generate as much value. You know, you're only as good as your last fight as far as payout. But Ring, I also wanted to point out that add to what like Leo was saying about the WBC. I'm like, is it a coincidence that they changed the referee and the judges for that fight?
I mean, you can make of that what you will. I noticed it, but I don't know who that ref leans towards. What I feel is that Top Rank has more strings to pull in this situation than the PBC does. I feel that
it goes off Jules. Who has more juice in that city?
That's what I'm saying. Thank you, because that's what I mean. Who got more juice in that city to be changing refs and shit like that? Who? You know what I mean?
Who's the one that attacked that commission's the city of that commission? What team? What fighter? That said that Nevada State conspires against them.
Wilder.
Exactly.
He I don't want to overanalyze it and overthink it, but I'm just saying, if you had to ask me, who do I think has the juice to make this happen? Fucking Bob. Yeah. Listen, there's things about Bob that we don't know. On this 50 years worth of things.
People think Bob's soft.
Bob works in strange and mysterious ways.
It's crazy. People think Bob's soft, like he ain't dealt with gangsters and the Nation of Islam and fools extorting fighters. Having to save Floyd from Jay Print. Like, Bob is not a soft dude.
Listen, man, if you ask me, Bob got bodies. That's all I'm going to say. Because I ain't dumb, B. I ain't dumb,
He knows where dead bodies are buried.
At least he know where they buried.
He's pushed buttons.
He's phone call. Said that, he says that the desert is strewn with the bodies of new promoters. What some shit. He's got the same, bro. But let me just give you what this guy, the guy that first brought up the thing about the WBO and WBCs and the sanctioning bodies rolling things like that. I've always thought that one of the simplest ways to get boxing better in America and get it going and flowing and getting fights made is if each sanctioning body would agree to come up with some basic rules. Your Mando, you have your champions. You know what's going on with the shenanigans of networks and promoters and not getting fights made. One of the ways you can circumvent that is by having it be a rule that a champion's mandatory cannot be in the same promotional outfit as that champion. That forces more fights and cross fights to be made. Just little simple things like that your ratings and if you want to extend it even better, you know what I'm saying? So you have your champion is PVC, your challenger is Matchroom, or whatever your Mandos is let's say Matchroom, and the second guy up to bat is Top Rank. That's how you would be able to keep this flowing as far as getting fights get made. You know what I'm saying? So those are like simple solutions that can be taken by all sanctioning bodies across the board just to create the atmosphere where fights and business has to be made.
Look, this is the thing. Where a statement like that is made, right? And I don't disagree with it. The thing is that the reason the sanctioning bodies operate they do it the way they do is because they don't want that. They know what's wrong with their outfits. They know exactly what they're doing. They do know what they're doing. And my solution is different. My solution is a bartering system between the promotional outfits that have network deals. You all sit down with each other. You look at these fights. Maybe you do this biannually, or not biannually, at the midpoint of every year. Look at the fights that you can make amongst yourselves, assess the market value of those fights, and swap, because fights need to happen. This
Julius,
thing about Julius,
that was Bob's suggestion when they got the deal in ESPN. Every time they would, him and Todd Duboff, every time they were approached, how do you about now these promotional companies are splintered. How are you gonna do? And Bob would always answer, "We do trades. Where in a division where I'm strong, you can send your fighter to me. In a division you're strong, I'll send my fighter to you." It was all that. But you know why they couldn't make those fights? Because everybody and their mother knows who has the strongest fighters, bro.
Of course.
Everybody and their mother's cousin's uncle's best friend knows who has the strongest fighters, bro.
Now this is where Teofimo comes back into the picture. You get a fighter like Teofimo, he can fight. We can see that. Do you think you're the only guy Bob has that can fight? I bet you that he's got a guy that he knows can beat you. I bet
at 140.
I bet you he knows that, and I bet you that that's a plan B for him.
135 too.
Maybe. I bet you because this man has been in this business for 50 years. He knows nobody's invincible. You can be gotten to. Like in other words, Teofimo sees himself as Teofimo. Cool. That's cool. You have to believe in yourself. Can't hold you. You have to believe in yourself at all times. But to Bob, I have 6 Teofimos. I have 3 Lomachenkos. I have a couple of Crawfords I'm working on. You understand? There's more where that came from.
It's not a problem.
It's not a problem. Why? Everybody talks about, Oscar left. Yeah, but he had Cotto. Cotto left. Yeah, but he had Manny. Manny left. But he has Loma. And you still don't fucking
you don't get it.
You don't fucking get it. You don't
There's always a next door down the pike.
Yo, listen, like I said before, bro, when you fucking make a Top Rank and you see that the greatest fighter, the biggest attraction leaves your company when your company is 5 years old, Muhammad Ali walks away and goes to Don King and brings along the entire heavyweight division with him, right? And your company still survives, and you build more fighters. And when you see that happen to you, Who gives a fuck who leaves? Once you see a Muhammad Ali leave and you survive it, you think you're gonna care about Oscar? You're not. You're not gonna do it.
The
It's
View,
nothing.
the View, I believe, and maybe I'm tooting my own horn, right? But I believe that the view that I have of boxing, which is there's nothing wrong with it, you can't fall in love with no fucking fighter. He's going to lose at some point. It's just a high probability that every fighter that you're rooting for now, at some point they're going to take a loss. And if they don't, they haven't had much of a career. Sorry to say. They haven't. Like, look, Floyd is Floyd, but Floyd is an exceptional fighter, right? You can't spell exceptional without exception. He is the exception to the rule. The
Hey,
rest of you,
Benito Lopez, okay?
of course, but we weren't going back that far.
Benito
Of
Lopez
course,
didn't need
no,
advantages like Floyd.
no. Espera. Ya tú sabes, no. Yeah, of course, but we're not going back that far. A lot of postmodern boxers like to use Floyd as a compass for themselves. You are not Floyd. Get it in your head. You're not Floyd. He was the exception to the rule more recently. All right? You are you. And there's a high probability you're going to lose. And it's okay if you lose. I'm not an asshole. It's tough business. A lot of great fighters had losses that put up great fucking fights. Ray Mercer, Burt Cooper, Jimmy Young. Some of these names, these young guys, they're not going to know them. Of course you're not going to know them. Burt fucking Cooper. Sensational fucking fight with Michael Moorer. I think he fought Ray Mercer too in a barn burner, right? You can have a loss and still be a ticket seller. What you lack is ambition. You don't have no ambition. You just wanted to get it, and then you got it, and then no, it's not over. Just like when you make money. Look, I can make $1 million here today. I appreciate that, Money Ruiz. Shout out to Money Ruiz for that. You guys, your boxing excellent show. I appreciate that, Manny. Appreciate that. You didn't have to do that, but you did it, and I appreciate it. You don't have to have an undefeated record. Why do you think that? You don't have to have an undefeated record. You don't. Sugar Ray Leonard lost to Duran. He rebounded. He lost to Duran, though.
This is what this was lost in them. And a lot of boxing fans, too, that also perpetuate the myth of the, right, is redeemable value.
Yeah.
Is being able to look at a fighter differently after the loss. You know, to me, that doesn't really bode well for a fighter's confidence. You know, trying to tell them that, because you have one loss to your record, 2 losses, I look at you a lot differently. No, there's a chance that guy could be good again. He could be a champion again. But you just have to just be fucking patient about it and understand that, boxing is like anybody can get hit. Yeah, that is true. You know, and as long as you understand that, right, you're gonna be okay. You're not gonna be all neurotic about it.
It's that there's a lot of people that think that if you're the best fighter in the world, and this is their approach to life, which is why I find them childish. You're going to take L's in life, especially if you plan on getting anywhere. You're going to take losses. If you plan on getting anywhere in life, you're going to fail at things and you're going to take losses. That's why boxing, to me, is the best microcosm for life itself in sports. If you plan on getting anywhere, having anything worth having, doing anything worth doing, there's going to be some losses in there. There are.
Grown man sport.
It's a grown man sport. This is not shooting a ball in the net. This is not throwing a ball down the field. This is not hitting a ball with a bat. Boxing is the best microcosm for life because in life, if you want something, you will sacrifice and you may take losses, especially if it's something major, especially if it's something good. Now, Sugar Ray Robinson, who the older I get, the more ahead of his time he seems to me. He had losses. Muhammad Ali had losses. You telling me they weren't great fighters? Sugar Ray Leonard had losses. You telling me he's not a great fighter? Tommy Hearns. You telling me he wasn't a great fighter? Roberto Duran. You telling me he wasn't a great... No, he had losses because they fought the fights. The fights that we still remember 20, 30, 40, 50 fucking years later and shit. Why do you think we're still talking about these guys, man? And they lost fights. You can lose. It's okay. Caleb, if he gets the fucking shit beaten out of him, right? By Canelo, it's okay. Do me a favor. Fight Billy Joe Saunders. If he retires, fight Callum Smith. If he's not there, go over there. Fight Benavidez. Give it all you got. I'll pay to see it. You don't want to do that.
Adversity builds character.
Doesn't it?
You know?
Goes back to
Doesn't
my
it?
point. Jules. They're not student. They don't love boxing like that.
No,
They
you're
don't.
I,
They're
right.
not students of the
okay,
game.
I
Not
want to
at
say
all. They
something
don't. They
about
don't. They
the.
compare themselves to the 15-round fighter, and nobody can be compared to a 15-round fighter. Dudes
Exactly.
have
Yo, dog.
Yeah.
dudes having
Larry,
70,
Larry,
80 fights.
Larry
You can't be.
Holmes, 15-round fighter, 1982, fights 4 times. 15-round fighter,
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
15-round fighter, Texas Cobb, Jimmy Young, Trevor Burbick, Ernie Shavers 2 times. And they comparing themselves to the guy.
No, no. Tyson Fury is like on something else, man.
You can't. You
Bro,
can't be in the
listen.
GOAT conversation if you don't got at least 60 fights. These
Yeah,
dudes got 100 fights.
Wilder's sitting there talking about 10 title defenses, bro. He thinks he's in the conversation. And what kills me is his fans thinks he's in a conversation with a guy like Vlad. And I don't care how bored Vlad is in that conversation with Joe Louis. Why?
Yep.
19 title defenses, bro. 19.
Mhm.
19. And you high on 10. He was unified with 19 title defenses. He took on all comers. Dr. Steel motherfucking Hammer.
Listen.
Show some respect.
Not for nothing, and not to the word for length. But if you're talking about like just the greatest resume I've seen, I believe the greatest resume in boxing, and I don't think people talk about it too much. I mean, it's George Foreman. Like I've looked at George Foreman's spanning 4 decades, right? Who's on that resume as losses or whatever? Some of the hardest one when he fought. Who was that dude that he went life and death with?
Jimmy Young.
No. The puncher. I forget his name because back in those days, it was like in '78 or something. He went and
Talking about the one where he got knocked down 2 times, right? 2-3 times.
and then
that was Jimmy Young. Jimmy Young.
No, Jimmy.
It was either Jimmy Young.
I think it was Ernie Shavers.
Nah, he didn't fight Shavers. Foreman and Shavers didn't fight.
There was another hard hitter in there. But anyway, the point is, if you look at the names on that
Ron Lau, right?
resume,
Ron Lau.
Ron
That's
Lau.
Yeah.
Ron Lau. That was him against Ron Lau. Him against Frazier. And then he has that lull, that break, and then comes back and gets Moorer and Morrison. And did he fight Morrison or no?
He fought Morrison. He fought Morrison. He fought Hollifield. He fought Cooley on the way.
Bruh,
you can't ask
crazy.
These guys.
That resume is crazy, man. It's jaw-dropping.
I got to bring up Larry. Larry did the same thing, right, that George did. He comes back, right? And this is after the Tyson. Ray Mercer, he goes in there. He damn near kills Tommy Morrison. Damn near kills that man. Who does he fight right after that? Larry Holmes. Who beats him and gives him his first loss after that? Larry motherfucking Holmes, the Eastern Assassin. And these guys, you think that these guys is going to be doing that at 40-something years old? They not. They retired off that Mike Tyson knockout. That's what these guys would do. They wouldn't do what Larry did and keep going.
They understand. They understand that it's an occupational hazard, and that they don't want none of it. I mean, you can't get wet if you swim. I mean,
these guys
really can't get wet without getting swimming.
They wouldn't have fought Hagler after the Hearns knockout, like Duran did. They would go up to fight Iran Barkley,
give him a fight, and give him a fight. And give Hagler a fight.
Yo, that fight right there. Some people find
and
fight
Duran wasn't
boring.
even in his prime anymore.
No, that fight right there. Some people find it boring, but I remember I stumbled upon it, and I saw the Hagler Duran fight, and I said, "Damn, these dudes look like two like Jedi masters or kung fu masters, scientific." That is for me the most scientific, the boxing science, that was at its highest level. That fight, it was all strategy, bro. And Hagler gave Duran so much respect, and Duran returned, but they still engaged, but didn't do nothing stupid. I don't know. That was a mesmerizing
listen,
fight.
and Duran, and why do we talk about Duran?
The greatest of the 4 kings.
Why do we talk about him that way? This man was
Took risks and fought everybody.
He's a fucking lightweight. Do you think Teofimo's
Yes.
gonna make it the middleweight? I don't. I don't think he could hack it at welterweight.
Teofimo's not even gonna get fucking 45 fights.
Bro, talk about it. All right. These guys ain't got dog. They ain't got dog. Like what Duran had cannot be taught. It can only be sharpened. What he had cannot be taught. Bro, you think what? Like even the look. And I'm not a Lomachenko hater, but let me say this: the great Lomachenko, no, he won't do what Duran did. Like most of these guys that everybody's so fucking high on. No, they won't do what Duran did. They won't make it. Right? Gennady Golovkin, for all his fanfare, right? I guarantee you this: if there were a super middleweight division that were fully established with money fights and so on and so forth, when Hagler was around, he'd have went up there. That man had a dog. He had a dog in it.
Duran going up to fight Hagler would have been like Floyd going up to fight Hopkins or Tito at 160. They wasn't doing that.
It's not happening. That's why I'm like, look, I don't got nothing against Floyd, right? But that TBE shit has always been like, that's some childish comic book shit. There is no greatest fighter. There are just great fighters.
It's a marketing tagline. That's what it is. The best ever is just to sell t-shirts and hats.
Look, Duran was a great fighter, but he lost to Tommy. Tommy lost to Hagler, but Duran gave Hagler a better fight than Tommy. Why? Tommy got knocked the fuck out. All right, and Duran beat Leonard, but when Leonard moved up years later, many years later, many fights later, he fought Hagler, he beat Hagler. But even though Leonard, he also fought Duran the second time and he beat him, but we know it was strategy because he caught him between fights when he was fucking fat. It's like, yo, dog, when you know your body, ain't no greatest fucking fighter, bro. You have a great record.
Duran was 70 fights in when he first fought Leonard, punched his Hall of Fame ticket. After Leonard, he had almost 40 fights and had another Hall of Fame run.
Bro.
And he was undisciplined then.
Yeah.
And these guys, and those were 15-round fighters. All right? 15-round fight. Like, I'll tell you what, you put Jimmy Kahn, who fought Joe Louis at heavyweight, you put that little man in the time machine, and he'll wreak havoc at cruiserweight and probably heavyweight here today. How do I know? Because in today's heavyweight division, he would have already beaten Joe Louis before Joe went on to knock him out. Remember, Billy Conn was up on the cards all the way up until the 13th round. But in the 13th round, that's where he got knocked out. In today's era of boxing, Joe Louis loses the fight.
Yeah.
He loses the fight. Loses a decision. You cannot compare these guys.
You can't.
Running around here today. No, you can't do it.
Yo, I lose my mind whenever they put, those fantasy fights, this and that against this and that. I'm like, shut up, bro. Like, first of all, if you're gonna create a fantasy, then at least be believable about it. Make them, compatible with errors. Because you can't put nobody who's never gone 15 rounds or better, because there's some other fighters that fought even more than 15 rounds, right?
Yeah, if we go further back.
If that fighter has never gone 15 rounds, you can't project what that guy will do, because the 15 rounds. Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier in Manila, 100 and something degree weather out there, 15. What are you, crazy?
They wouldn't even let them motherfuckers fight in today's, like, bro, it's too hot out here. Let's put this in an arena. It's too hot out here.
Hello.
The sport is too lawyered up anyway for them to be doing that. They're gonna sign a lot of paperwork for that before that even happens.
All I'm saying is they like to throw those guys' names around, and it's like, nah, bro. Nah. And I'm always gonna favor the older fighter while the conditions were harsher. That's
harsher.
Why.
Tougher.
It was a degree of difficulty. You got guys fighting 3-4 times in a month in those old days. In a month.
Imagine Gervonta Davis in the Henry Armstrong era.
Gervonta Davis, please.
Imagine Gervonta Davis at lightweight when Duran was at
And Jules, and that's and in those eras, from the 20s till about the 50s, That's when fighters was fighting in the bars too after the fights.
Bro,
Nobody was gonna stop there.
Listen, man. Imagine Aaron Pryor with Mikey Garcia. Eat him alive.
Imagine Tank Davis going into the bar and sees Henry there, and he's trying to talk that cash shit, and they at the same bar.
And look, I'm okay with things changing because I know that things change, and because I'm older, I'm okay with that. But when these comparisons get made, the people that know the facts, like, nah, dog. Let me get in the time machine. Let me bring the Hawk with me when I come back, and let me unleash him on 140. Motherfuckers ain't gonna want to be there. He ain't gonna want to be there, man. Now when it's Hawk time, they ain't gonna want to be there. Let me go back. Let me conjure up Durant. Like, yo, Durant, let's go to the lightweight division in the future. They ain't gonna want to be there. I'm telling you, don't want to be there.
So having said all that, who are the fighters that most of today's fighters? Who are the fighters? Don't have to be champions, whatever, or that you see. Who are the fighters that you have the most throwback in them?
Mr. Very Phil. Mr. Very Phil.
Crawford. It's a short list.
Very Phil.
Usyk, Crawford, Taylor. Those is anywhere, anytime.
Usyk, yes.
Anytime, any place, anywhere. Canelo, anytime, any place.
Ahmadaliev got that dog in him.
And I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know that they would fare very well in that previous era. Like, look, even the welterweight era of 20-something years ago, maybe a little more than that. Oscar, Felix, that welterweight division. Thurman don't make it.
Obakar, Ike Cortez.
Sean don't make it. Danny don't make it. They don't make it, bro. Felix would have fucking Felix would have knocked him the fuck out. Oscar would have battered that man. And
Jules,
look,
put Danny at that 140 era in the 140 in that era. He don't get a belt.
I'm trying to tell you right now, right? The Oscar that everybody loved to. Y'all didn't see. They didn't grow up in that era. That Oscar will wipe his whole ass. With Spence, with Sean, with Keith, with Danny. I'll go as far as saying, like, yo, look, I love Crawford, right? But I gotta say this, man. Oscar wasn't no bitch. It's gonna be a fight. He wasn't no bitch. Like, he, outside of the ring, he did what he did and all that, and and that's his extracurricular activities. But I'm just telling you, that era of man, Keith Thurman don't win a belt in that. No.
That's how they were built.
Bro, nah, man. Like, nah, not that era. Shit, and I love Crawford, but honestly, think about it. Oscar wasn't little for welterweight, He wasn't. He was 5'10", 5'11".
Hey, I got one who kind of reminds me throwback. I see a lot of throwback in him. Virgil Ortiz.
Yeah, but he has more to prove. I can't.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Like, when it comes to Crawford, for example, the reason I feel he's a throwback fighter is because just give him the opportunity to fight, let him work. That's what he has. That's what they all had. Like, bro, look, just make the fucking fight, bro. I'm not gonna sit here and do all this bullshit with you. Just make the fucking fight. Usyk, same. I'm not gonna sit here and do all this bullshit with you, man. Make the fucking fight. Usyk is not talkative at fights, if you pay attention. Like, you don't say much.
Laser focus, bro.
Focus. I'll say a couple of things to make you laugh, but I'm here to work. Crawford, here to work. Focus on your fight for you not make it to your fight. But focus on that shit. And look, I love Sean because I feel that he has the attitude and the work ethic of a throwback fighter. But I look at him and I'm like, look, man, that De La Hoya era was something else, man. It was.
Tito would have pushed Sean in a fucking body bag.
Bro, Tito wasn't little. Like, Tito would tower. You would think that Tito and Keith is in different weight classes.
Go back to that junior welterweight era where it's Frankie Randolph, Chavez Sr., Costa Zoo. Danny Garcia ain't getting a chip.
Oh my God!
Bro,
hell no.
Costa Zoo. Look. Danny don't do like everybody always talks about Danny's hunt. Look, your run ain't shit, bro. Your run ain't shit. Run ain't shit. You be the old Zab. You be
Khan
the
and
old
Batista.
Zab. You be the old Morales. All right. You knocked out Khan, but that was after Bradis knocked
A
out
lot
Khan
of
in one
names.
round.
He's got a lot of names, but nothing there. There's a lot of fluff. A lot of fluff in there. A lot of names. You know, a lot of
They didn't
worn
know
out fighters.
like yeah, they familiar, but you think I don't know what was going on when he fought him? They're like, you think I didn't like? Yo, Eric
Boom.
was past it, bro. So was Zab. What? Who else? Who else? Fucking Khan. All right, he beat Khan, and he was the underdog. That's awesome. The only one that really gets me that look, I can't say shit is Matisse. That's the only like I can't say shit.
Yes,
That's
yes,
good one.
Matisse.
Yeah, I gave him his flowers for that fight. You know, I thought Matisse was gonna bring it to him, but he fought well in that fight. But like,
Wow.
you know, but it's like we're talking about fights that happened like in 2013, man, and since then
They're stuck.
his
The
career's
PBC
been
stuck there. The
it's like
PBC stuck there.
their modus operandi is being stagnant, man, with these fighters, man. They're not
That's
really
it.
building a
Their
career
modus
arc.
operandi is living in the past. Why you think
Yo.
like you talk to a PBC fanatic, right? They'll still tell you about how Keith beat Danny. Bro, do you know that was it's like 4 years ago, maybe 5. Yeah, is that long?
They successfully created a parallel universe, man. It was it's really I've always given them credit for that. They successfully created this shit, man. They created the names amongst themselves, fought amongst themselves, and then were able to disparage and cast doubt on Crawford.
I'm like, yo, dog,
by
listen.
not fighting him.
By not fight, yo, dog. Look.
Yo, it's incredible, man.
Go back to videos from 2017. I've been saying, like, I've been beating it. Look, Crawford beats all of them. Every single, because he has it. It's in the eyes. He has the shit. They don't have that shit. Let me read this super chat. The thing with Floyd and his green print makes these young fighters not want to take risks to protect an O. Give us the fights we want. O don't matter. And I don't knock Floyd in particular because he did it his way and that worked for him. What these guys don't seem to understand, you're not him. Stop trying to be him. Not him.
Well, he did it his way in his 38th fight. But for 37 fights, he was doing it the top rank way.
He was doing it the top rank way. Gennaro Hernandez, Angel Manfredi, Castillo, Chico Corrales. He didn't like yo dog. Like he was like this is the lost story of Floyd that he earned his fucking way. All right. Then after 30, then you get the money, May, and all that bullshit. But he earned his fucking way. Thurman, he beats Danny Garcia. He thinks he's king shit.
That's
it. Yeah, because Floyd, if Floyd never has the Oscar fight, he doesn't become Money Man.
And he had to make sacrifices to get that fucking fight. They don't want to do that. They don't want to. You can't ask Keith Thurman to go to Australia for a Tim Tszyu. It'll never happen. You can't ask Danny to do that neither.
Because Oscar could have been a real dick and be like, "Nah, you got to meet me at 160. I can't make 154."
Sorry, Floyd. That's just the way it is. All right.
Are we gonna see Keith Thurman against a Conor Ben?
No.
Nobody cares about Keith Thurman's career anymore.
No, he doesn't.
It's a nice name, though.
Bro.
It's a nice name. Nice declaration to a resume.
The best thing they could do now is Broner versus Thurman, and it's not even for the fight. It's for the fucking press conference because they both talk a lot of shit. And it's like I like shit talking for a fight. Look, there's no shit talker in postmodern, not even Tyson Fury, better than Ricardo Mayorga. When he said that shit to Oscar, bro, that shit, he was talking some serious fucking shit.
This was
wow, slanderous.
Wow. I like shit talking when the fight means something.
Yeah.
That Broner Thurman don't mean that. Like, I'm not interested in these guys' careers unless they're fighting boots. Nobody wants to fight boots.
And nobody. But you right though. Like, look, if it was Thurman versus Boots, and then he was talking shit, I could go for that. You know, like, you ain't beat nobody. I'm a school. because Thurman, but he's so cringe, bro. Like Thurman sound like somebody uncle. He just sound like you somebody uncle, right? Be at the cookout talking about shit you used to do. It's
Yeah,
Thurman.
but Thurman and Broner talking shit in a press conference. It's like, man, these two dudes gonna be trying to sell their autographed gloves in 20 years at the fights. I'm cool.
Yeah, bro. I don't even look. Broner is more like his shit talking is not great. Even the shit talking at the Pacquiao fight, for example, was annoying.
Embarrassing.
It was annoying and embarrassing and cringeworthy. Whereas when
Mm.
Ricardo was talking shit, when Larry was talking shit, it was like, ooh, Larry Holmes at the Cooney fight. Ooh, all right.
Yeah.
Ricardo, ooh, like it's different. Like you sold shit out of that fight.
Yeah,
I
Broner
mean,
what's
if
talking
there's
shit.
if
what?
there's no if there's no other greener pastures, you know, behind that Thurman and Broner fight, what is the point of shit talking? We know your careers ain't shit. Hasn't been shit for a while.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
yeah, yeah.
Hey, listen, all these PBC fighters, all those PBC welterweights, they've been around for maybe I would like to say 10 years now. You seen
just
them? They're
about.
both champion. They reign this and that and the other. Now, who amongst them created a legacy to go into the Hall of Fame? None of them.
No,
Not
no, no.
one. And
Let me.
at the end of the day, and you know what's funny? You know what's funny about this? This we can go back to like going back and bring it back to the beginning. This Mike Coppinger piece of shit has berated Crawford. Cast. He's one of the reasons that people cast doubts on Crawford.
Yes, he is.
He kind of like you've seen him, right?
No,
He
yes, he
goes
is.
out of his way to well, I don't know if you haven't seen him. He can't get that fight. And he really disses fucking Crawford, bro.
Yes, he does.
He straight up dissing. And I saw him interview when Crawford was on the ESPN show, and I thought that Crawford was just gonna come at him, man. But I guess Crawford doesn't really pay attention to any of that because I don't.
Look, Crawford's a family guy. He's got he's got kids and shit, right? He doesn't have time to be worrying about what
Yeah,
bald head
Crawford's
Michael.
one of those guys that just doesn't like doing the media obligations. He doesn't like playing
Yes,
that part of the game,
What
yes.
and that's
But
what
I'm
one of the
Mike
talking.
reasons he
Coppinger
ain't big.
I'm talking
what
about
Mike
just
Cop
reading the
yeah.
article or something, man. But
hmm
what I'm saying is this: what do you think about the possibility of Ugas Ortiz,
Won't happen.
WBA?
It won't happen. Hold on. Let me read. I'll tell you why. Let me read the super chats. Oscar Tito, Paul Williams, Vernon Forrest, Ike Cordy beat all these welterweights today. I agree. I got Bud beating all these welterweights today, and he'd have the best chance against Oscar. I agree also. Oscar Tito era. I agree also. To answer your question, there's already been a tournament mandated by the WBA, a 4-man tournament.
Ortiz is not in it?
He's not in it.
Even though he has their gold belt? He has
They're phasing all that shit out. I mean, I know that there's a 4-man tournament. The
What?
Stanionis guy is a part of it. Jamal James is a part of it, and I forget who the other guy is besides Ugas.
Who's standing on this with?
Probellum.
Probellum.
Prophylactic. He's with Prophylactic.
Let me put you on to what's happening, Alexis, with the WBA. See,
Okay,
the
go ahead.
WBA is rebranding itself. They're calling themselves. It's no longer the World Boxing Association. It's We're Ball Licking Al Heyman.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah,
you cannot. That's the thing. We have to find a system of accountability that could enforce these governing bodies to reform themselves.
Well, this is
Now
the
the
other.
ABC,
This is the
yeah.
other thing. They order a 4-man tournament, right? I think about three of the 4 guys are with the same fucking outfit. I think about 3. I know at least 2 of them are, but I think
That's
it's
what I'm
actually.
talking about.
It's like, yo, dog, what the fuck is this? A slumber party?
For real.
Like, have you found and you know what it is? You found a way to keep that belt on PBC's Isolation Island for at least 2 prongs. At least 2 prongs. You know, because the guys are going to fight in the semi and the final, and then you just want to keep the belt over there. The question is, now that the Alphabet Commission has put their feet to the fire, they can't operate that way anymore. So That was one of the last things that they did. Order that 4-man tournament at the time that shit was hitting the fan. Virgil Ortiz potentially fighting for that belt. It's not outside the realm of possibility. It's just not in the immediate future because they already ordered the 4-man tournament. They already did that. So,
And
yeah.
what I was thinking right now is that the Tank fight. Remember, the WBA said he has to decide within 21 days after this fight.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Tio and Kambosos getting delayed again throws a monkey in that wrench because now they got to decide before that fight even takes place what Tio's going to before they even know what Tio's going to do.
He's stuck between a rock and a hard place because what they thought they were going to do was hide out with a 140 belt, and then when Josh leaves, we'll get elevated. No. Josh isn't leaving Josh isn't leaving this year. If he's going to leave, it'll be next year because this year he's fighting Jack Catterall, so you don't have that much time. And Teofimo, he's still the WBA champion. You want to stick around down there long enough for them to order that fight so we can watch you walk away from it? It's all bad. It's all bad. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.
No, brother.
I'm fucking sleepy.
This was great.
Yep, time for me to go to bed, man. Have a good night.
All right,
All right, fellas.
Peace.